We're all wearing red check shirts, and the Chinese people next door are building a bed in the garden. It can only be the PGK podcast.
Welcome to the PGK podcast for April in review, which we're recording in the middle of May because we're lazy and also we have to go help the Chinese people next door build their bed. I'm David, to my left.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Ted, as always.
So I didn't actually notice that the guys were building a...
No, that wasn't a joke. They're the Chinese family next door are building a bed in the garden.
Why not build it in the bedroom?
I don't know. I'm not going to ask them.
Maybe they're just going to build the bed, then they're going to build a bath, and then they're just going to build a house
new
around
house
it.
around it. Maybe.
I'm sure you need some sort of planning permission.
You'd be surprised. There are a lot of Portuguese families that are building rather large and rather well insulated and double glazed sheds in their allotments,
right?
Round the back of Old Farm Avenue.
Oh, right.
Which we suspect they're just straight up living in.
Well, of course they are. Yes. Yeah. I saw a story this week of a £400 a month quote flat.
I saw this as well.
There was a bed in the landlord's kitchen.
in the guy's kitchen. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Okay, so welcome to the PGK podcast. April in review.
That's your news update for Sig Cup.
Absolutely.
And we'll be as part of the Say What Now family. This is episode 2, and we'll be covering all sorts of film and TV and games news and sort of just, entertainment, culture news. So we start off with allotments and beds. Because that's how we roll.
Make of it what you will.
Yeah. I'll make a bed.
Put it in illegally.
I'm going to grow some carrots.
Nice. I like a carrot. There's a guy at work the other day who I thought I saw it from afar and I thought was eating Wotsits. And this is like 10 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, Wotsits at 10 o'clock in the morning is a bold choice. But instead, what he actually was is he had a full bag of those tiny little baby carrots.
Yeah.
So it went from awesome to healthy very quickly.
But I've heard they're really good ways of kicking habits as well. People.
You say that he's some sort of easy on the drugs?
Quite possibly. It could be anything.
Right.
It could be drugs. Could be cigarettes. But a lot of people, when they're trying to kick a habit, will deliberately buy those bags of carrots because they are small enough that they can, your brain can mistake them for having regular inputs of a little something. But at the same time, they're fairly healthy for you as well. So it's a win-win all round.
Okay.
I can't say I'd ever go down that route.
It's the mark of an addict, basically. Because I was thinking...
Carrots, I was thinking of poisoned mind.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I'd get some carrots in to work. I thought that maybe that'd be a good idea, reduce on the snacking. But you're saying that basically people will know that I'm a drug user.
They'll know about the cocaine straight away.
Yeah. At least I'm trying to kick it.
Exactly. That's, it's a step in the right
direction.
Progress. It's only if you don't start sniffing the carrots, that's all.
Dice them up real fine.
Well,
I was going to say, don't just have 2 lumps stuck up his nose.
Do you know what? That's...
David, what's wrong with you today?
Nothing. But my olfactory is terrible, so I might need to stick them up my nose anyway to smell it.
Maybe we'll just make some room first.
Yeah.
Maybe it will.
Oh, heavens.
Chris.
Why do that? What's your month been like?
Yeah.
Month and a bit.
It's been alright. Game wise has totally not shifted off of Fallout in any way, shape or form, which I am totally unabashed and unashamed of.
No, this is Fallout 3, yes?
This is Fallout 3.
You're late to the party.
I'm late to the party, but I'm will be in line with the party, provided that Bethesda do what they should and announce Fallout 4, and if we don't, I'll just start playing New Vegas and then worry about it another time.
Yeah, well, if they don't announce Fallout 4, I will commit a terrorist atrocity.
Burn down the entirety of Maryland.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's fair warning there, Maryland.
Yeah.
Yep.
Move out.
Disclaimer. No, I won't.
No.
Let's just be clear about this.
Let's put a little asterisk on that one.
No, I won't.
Yeah. Nah.
There'll be a disclaimer at the end of the video, which is like, "Say what now is no longer associated with productions."
I will be very annoyed on the internet.
Oh,
yes,
Christ!
yes.
I suspect there will be a lot of. There already are a very lot of annoyed people on the internet for an abundance of reasons.
Especially concerning Fallout 4 and its lack of delivery.
Yes.
Also, that delicious fake website from was it last year?
Project 2099 or something like that. Well, it was something, and then they had a countdown, and then it was like, no, nothing. It's a fan website. Hey.
Yeah.
I felt like throwing something through a window.
But no, other than games, I've covered two older films. Well, not two older films, but I've covered 2 films I wanted to see for a while, which is basically just a Jake Gyllenhaal catch up, which was Nightcrawler and Prisoners.
Nice.
Cool.
Both of which were astounding.
I bought Nightcrawler.
It's really, really good.
Yeah,
And
I heard that.
it properly cements Jake Gyllenhaal as that method actor who will literally do near enough anything to become that character.
Oh, yeah,
Like in Prisoners, he's basically his average build, if you like.
Yeah.
But he's still you can still tell he's got that edge to him, which makes him that particular type of detective that takes no shit from his police chief and basically says, "I'm doing what I'm gonna need to do in order to get this done. If you don't like it,
Stuff it.
basically." Ends on a superb cliffhanger, which completely leaves part of the story completely unsolved and allows you to think what you will. Whereas Nightcrawler is just a delightful transformation of him being this really awkward, weird guy who, just learns stuff and goes, right, I want to know about this, or I'm interested in this, and then becomes a master of it, and then tries to apply it to the real world, find he can't, and then just moves on to something else. And obviously in this, his thing is becoming a journalist and a photographer.
Yeah.
And it's
He got
got skinny.
and then the film afterwards, he's a boxer.
Yeah, well, he lost 40 pounds, I think, in order to do Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
And then, or was it 30 pounds? No, I mean 30 pounds he lost to do Nightcrawler, and then put that plus another 10 of muscle on for Southpaw.
Yeah.
So it's not as extreme as Christian Bale, the Machinist Batman, but it's on that same scale of him being this very gaunt, sullen-looking individual in Nightcrawler going to this absolute tank for Southpaw.
He does look like a tank.
He does look like a tank.
You seen the trailer for that, Ted?
No, not yet.
But when I say to you, Jake Gyllenhaal boxing movie.
No,
Yeah.
I might.
Yeah.
I'll watch it on DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not a Gyllenhaal.
I'm not. I like
What's a
him more
Gyllenhaal fan? What do we call ourselves?
The G or the Ewan Halens.
G Unit.
G Unit.
Right, I'm calling us.
Unit,
Yeah.
No, I like him more than I like his sister very much. I think he's fine. I think
He's just got a subjection to Maggie because she's not very pretty.
Because she's not a very good actress is my problem with her.
Oh,
is that
okay.
She's always got this weird smug smile on her face, even when her boyfriend's being taken away because everyone thinks he's Batman.
Yeah.
She's still like, oh, Harvey. She's got this like 50s sitcom smile of a long-suffering wife and her oafish husband. There you go.
Who happens to be Batman?
Yeah.
What's that?
A fucking soundbite for you. But no, I'm not. Jake Gyllenhaal, I think is fine.
I don't think he's a triple. You can never have him as the lead in a triple A film.
No,
but
They
you can
tried
have
in
him.
Prince of Persia.
Yes, they
Oh,
did.
yeah.
Which I actually thought he was okay in. But
He
the
is.
rest of
No.
Gemma Arterton.
Yeah, him and Gemma Arterton are great. The balance between them is great, but no, he's never going to be.
He's never, but he can give you a solid A-class performance.
Yeah.
In a very very well researched and involved character on his behalf.
maybe that's why he's improved so much lately, because he's going more method.
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
investing himself.
He's
more.
investing
Maybe
himself
that's why he seems so
heavily
much
in
better.
all of his characters.
There's a parallel universe, of course, in which Jake Gyllenhaal is a massive movie star.
He'd be the Tom Cruise in that universe.
Well, do you know what it is? It's because after Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire hurt his back, and they did not know whether they were going to get him back for Spider-Man 2. But they were going to recast. They were only going to recast Peter, and they were going to move forward with Spider-Man 2 as was.
Wow. Okay.
With Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay.
And then obviously Tobey Maguire went through a bunch of rehab and built his strength back up and came back for Spider-Man 2, which as we all know is the best of the Spider-Man films.
I still only seen it in French.
By a country mile.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen it in French? That's better than Amazing Spider-Man 2 in English.
I bet it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd watch Spider-Man 2 in Urdu before I watched Amazing Spider-Man 2 again in English.
But the question is, would hit... Because Tobey Maguire really, I don't think, went anywhere. He had his brief moment in the sunlight, and then he never used that as a launching platform to get to anywhere else. Would the same have happened for Jake Gyllenhaal?
It's interesting, isn't it? Do you know what, though? I think... we know Gyllenhaal was also nearly Nolan's Batman. He was one of the guys. He was one of the guys considered alongside Josh Hartnett.
See, Josh Hartnett, that guy who just disappeared off the map,
Yeah,
and he's now doing
Yeah.
he's doing little TV bits here and there, and the occasional very low end indie movie or whatever.
I come with the rain.
I think we mentioned. Yeah, you said. I think we mentioned this actually last podcast. The whole thing about him is that after 2002, 2003, somewhere around there. He took his money and he went home.
Yeah.
He went home to, I think it was Minnesota. I think he lives up there. And he
Looks
went
like
back
he should be from somewhere like that.
Yeah,
Nebraska or something.
Big sky country.
Yeah.
And he went back and got with his high school girlfriend again, and
that's
just like
great.
moved back to his hometown for a bit, and then decided, right, I'll come out and I'll do some small things.
some little things.
So he's doing Penny Dreadful, and reportedly that's very good.
It looks cool.
Yeah, it looks very cool. This is one of the things, though. Is I see TV shows come along all the time now, and I think that looks really cool. I simply do not have space for them. I'm watching so much TV. I think you and I have especially said, talked about this beforehand, calling it the golden age of television.
Yeah.
I really, really do think we're
Trying
living
to
in the
commit
golden
to
age
more
of
than
TV.
2 shows at once is a complete nightmare at the moment.
Oh, it's because they're all so good.
Yeah,
It's so good. And Netflix especially has made it so that your access to shows, or Amazon Prime, you've got full box sets of these things on demand, anytime you want. And then it says, "Oh, here's 17 other things you might like."
Yeah,
and you look at 15 of those and you go, "Oh, I'd watch that." It's
I think that's precisely why, because there's so much out there. I think that's why I haven't dived into any TV shows. Because I mean, like, you guys watch TV shows all the time, non-stop, and I just don't get into them, knowing that I'm not going to have time. And it's really odd. Like, for instance, Fortitude. I would have loved to have watched Fortitude. It sounds absolutely fantastic, but I have not actually sat down and watched a single episode of it, despite the fact that I know I'm going to enjoy it. It's because I'm not going to have the time to fit it all in. And I don't want to have that clashed in with other games and other films that come out, and then everything else that, fits in with your life.
I sat down and watched a part of that the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it is pretty spectacular. It's one of the nicest looking TV shows I've seen.
I wanted to talk about Fortitude for ages.
Yeah, it's really gorgeous.
I mean, in terms of cinematography, Jesus Christ. And I tell you what, Iceland could not ask for a better set of shows to come on one after the other. Fortitude and Game of Thrones, in terms of advertising. Come to Iceland, we look like we look amazing.
We look like the terrifying frozen north.
Yeah, we do.
They are really. I
really glad you've got into Fortitude.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Fortitude,
yeah, quite. It's on my next list because this month just gone. It's much more TV heavy for me than it usually is. Usually, I'm playing more games to fill my time. And because nothing's come out, I finished House of Cards season 3.
Nice. Which
I would recommend to anybody with eyes, ears, or who can somehow other receive entertainment, because it's one of the best things I've ever seen.
Put it into your Matrix port at the back of your head.
That would work. Yeah, direct brain interface.
Yeah.
That'd be weird.
The DVI.
Yeah. You'd be like, hey, I'm going to watch season 3 of House of Cards. Wow, that's pretty
very
good.
good. Yeah.
Man, I'm so mad. That's phenomenal. I've been taking pictures of all the Netflix POS around the store at work.
Hey, what are you calling a piece of shit for? Come on now.
Because Frank Underwood is everywhere in the store at the moment, which is wonderful. Everywhere in the TV department. And I've seen the pilot of Fortitude and watched the pilot of Wayward Pines, about which I have been really excited because they've been advertising it for like 2 months.
Wayward Pines, I look at and I think to myself, now there is a show I would want to see. Now, do you know what? Wayward Pines is exactly like, for me, The Leftovers, in that I hear the concept and I think, that is fantastic. I want to see that. And then I look at the person behind it and I go, holy shit, I'm not going near it.
Yeah, that was my great concern for it. M. Night Shyamalan, I presume, is your problem, not Matt Dillon.
No, I like Matt Dillon. And Juliette Lewis and Colin Gugino and Toby Jones. Loads of people are in
Toby
it.
Jones turned up and he was exactly what I hoped he would be.
Was he Zola from the
Winter
Soldier?
he was a creepy doctor.
Brilliant.
He turned up
Is he a Nazi
in one
still?
scene. He's not. No,
Oh.
that's a missed opportunity. He's just
across
talking
the
through
streams
TV
and just having me Zola.
I was concerned about Shyamalan, but he only exec produced. I think he directs one of the episodes in the season. Hopefully not the last one. He's only an exec producer. So and it's based on a series of books, which I didn't know. So that he can't fuck with it that much.
Well, that's good. So this is again The Leftovers, being from Damon Lindelof of Lost.
Oh yeah.
But being a book based on, or rather being a series based on a book by one of my favourite authors, Tom Perrotta, who also wrote The Abstinence Teacher and Little Children and Election.
Oh, yeah.
And it's about I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's about the Rapture. and it's
Not the Bioshock Underworld City?
no,
Underworld City.
but no, rather the religious rapture, and something like 2% of the population of the entire Earth disappear one day, and then they sort of have to deal with that. And I have to get around to the book.
Who has to deal with it? The 2%?
The people that are left behind, the
Right,
leftovers.
okay. That makes sense.
And so I've been wanting to get round to reading the book for a while because, as I say, he's one of my favourite authors, and it sounds great. But then, and I thought, and the television series was then announced. And I thought, this is fantastic. Oh, I'll watch the TV series, and then I'll watch the book. I'll read the book afterwards, or something like that. Because I'm not picky. I'm not one of these sort of elitists that will say, "Oh no, I will never watch the TV series before reading the book."
No, I hate people like that.
And so I thought, oh, maybe I'll get round to it. And then I saw that the chap behind Lost was behind it, and I immediately went, nope, I will read the book, and I will never touch the TV series.
Interestingly, Vicky got me the current set of Game of Thrones books for Christmas, and I opened up the packet and I was like, "This is gorgeous." Put it on a shelf, and I have not touched it.
Very wise.
Because
things happen in the wrong order in the TV series.
Yeah, and I want to think, right, okay, so I know this is where we are, but I'm just concerned there's going to be something in there that will have just been lifted out from one point and shoved in somewhere else.
That is what happens after season 2. Reportedly, that what happens is they start to pick bits forward.
Okay.
Because they're in the books. They will take characters out of it for a while and relax on them.
Okay.
So, for instance, why this season of Game of Thrones we're not seeing Bran and Hodor is because Bran and Hodor
that was me celebrating silently there.
have reached the end of their journey in the books, and so they're currently having to sort of formulate what they're going to do next.
Hodor's just DJing in there.
Oh, he is, of course, yeah.
Yep.
What's that chap's name?
Christian Nairn.
There you go.
My boy Christian Nairn.
And so he's so in the books they sort of spend some time away from Bran and Hodor and then come back to them occasionally, but in the TV series they sort of went back to them a bit too much. And I understand why they did that, because they wanted to get them to the point which they were talking with the creepy man in the tree. Which we'll fucking deal with some later.
And the little fireball child,
yeah, we'll deal with that in 2 years' time.
You guys up to date on Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So we watched episodes 1 through 5.
Long sullen silences and the occasional punch in the face. One way. That was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. As an eczema sufferer, I now feel really bad for Jorah because he's got what is essentially hyper eczema. That
I think it's worth. Yeah. Okay.
I just wanted to give him some vino cream. I saw it and I thought, you need a bit of a moss on that, son.
Yeah. That's all. Avino. Valyria is just a.
No, Avino is down the road from Valyria.
Yeah,
that's where they got all the oatmeal.
Everyone's totally fine. Neighbouring island where everyone's nicely moisturised.
Yeah, Valyria, which is a leper colony, essentially.
Yeah, God, I lost my shit when they went to Valyria. When they were sailing through Valyria. I really wish that we'd spent more time there after we've heard about Valyria for like 5 years.
I fucking don't. We don't get turned into zombies.
Yeah, that's true. After 3 years of formulating why no one goes to Valyria and then being able to piece it together like 2 episodes before because they were talking about Shireen and the merchant who'd come with the doll and she put it on her face and became a zombie lady. Sort of.
Was that an attempted attack on her though?
Perhaps.
That I thought was that. I turned to Vicky and I was like, maybe, perhaps.
Or maybe it's just that it's Game of Thrones saying foreigners are scummy and don't let them touch your kids. But we'll get back into that later.
Let's not refer to the Chinese family next door.
Make it a bed, secret bed.
I'm gonna rub your face in it.
Well, as long as I don't become a zombie person, I'm okay with that. I guess it's a bit weird, but I can probably find one. I lost my mind when they went to Valyria. I've been looking forward to seeing it for so long, and then it was over in about 90 seconds, and that was disappointing. But their whole journey, I thought, was going to be a bit crap. I thought that was going to be a bit of a silly side story where they go to it for 25 seconds, they'd make a joke, and then go away again. But I think I'm going to enjoy Jorah and...
Well, it's like the pairings are just absolutely fantastic.
Oh, that's dynamite.
The pairings are just joy. Like, after they did the Tyrion and Bronn adventures... And everybody was just like, "This is the best thing ever." They went, "Okay, we need more pairings."
Jamie and Bronn adventure is just. I'm loving that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And we didn't go to them this episode, did we?
No. I'm hoping they're either going to cross paths with the Sand Snakes beforehand, or they'll be in the middle of the right. Okay, there she is. Let's go get her, and then they'll just like exit. They'll enter screen left, pick up. Is it Martella? Marcella, and then pick up Marcella, just exit, screen right, and Bron and Jamie just be like, oh, you go that way.
Well, of course, Game of Thrones is full of that, isn't it? It's full of people turning up. I mean, look at the Hound and Arya turning up not only at the Red Wedding, but then also at the Vale.
And Brienne
no, not the Vale.
Pod.
The Eyrie.
Yeah, the Eyrie.
Brienne and Pod.
Brienne and Pod turning up late everywhere to everything.
I think it's going to be really interesting when Stannis invades Winterfell, which I've turned to Vicky and I've said that is my episode 9. I don't know because I don't know
the Battle of Winterfell. God, I hope we get a Battle of Winterfell.
That's what I hope. And if
fantastic.
it is the Battle of Winterfell, that should be episode 9. But when you consider how long it has taken them to get from the Vale to Moat Cailin to Winterfell and other people to move around the enormous map that is Westeros, it just hasn't taken enough time. So I think the Battle of Winterfell, it feels like it should come sooner because then the wall is not that far from Winterfell.
No.
Yeah.
And yet, if they suddenly disappear and leave Winterfell for now 3 episodes,
and
go, by the way, here we are, episode 9.
But do you know what is Game of Thrones does have this thing, and I was talking to somebody about this earlier. Game of Thrones does have this thing where it will deliberately pump the brakes on something in order. The television show will deliberately pump the brakes on something in order to make things line up a certain way.
Yeah.
Joffrey's death last season was. They spent the entire back half of that episode in King's Landing at that party.
Yeah.
And so they pumped the brakes on everything else.
With Joffrey just owning Tyrion.
Yeah.
Like, pour me some wine. I dropped it. Pour me another one. I poured it on your head. Pour me another one.
Who's laughing now? The little blonde cunt.
Not him.
Not him, yeah. So that's the... that chap retired from acting, Jack Gleeson.
Yes.
He said, right, that's it, I'm out, I'll do something else.
He was unilaterally hated, which didn't help.
Good for him. Now when he pops back up in Batman Begins, of course, he's the little kid who Batman gives the periscope to. I think to himself, I think the Batman, chuck him off the ledge.
Just give him a little push.
Instead of
Batman doesn't kill, but I'd forgive him for that.
Instead of throwing it to him, throw it very hard and see if you can cause some head trauma.
Throws it at him and it's actually a gas bomb.
Thanks, Batman.
That would have been good.
Brilliant.
I'm sure people will re-edit that at some point.
I hope they do. I think that they have a good way of apportioning out the pacing. I think what we'll probably get is, because to me there's something very, very, very interesting and quite complex simmering in King's Landing.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm concerned.
We haven't been there for episode and a half now.
Maybe we haven't been there for a while. Or if we've been there very, very sparingly. I
like
find
Tommen being the worst king ever. I want to go that way. You can't. He's praying.
All right.
But
I'll be back, maybe.
Bastard. Oh, well, I want. Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's be clear about this. You just said Tommen's the worst king ever. That is.
No,
so
I didn't
say
he's the worst king ever. I said he's not good at being a king.
Yeah, he's not good at being a king, absolutely.
Yeah. He doesn't know how to...
So far, he hasn't burned any babies.
As Tywin said...
Let's not burn any babies.
No, let's not. As Tywin said, if you have to say you are the king, you are not the king.
Yeah. I think the really... What I particularly enjoy about Tommen's storyline is not just Marjorie trying to whisper sweet nothings in his ear to get him to, and trying to sort of, she wants him
to give Cersei the boot back to Castle Rock.
Exactly, but simultaneously Cersei despises Marjorie and is trying to bring her own son closer to her and influence him that way. The tug of war between them for him is wonderful.
Fantastic.
And 5 years ago, when you think of Game of Thrones, I mean, that wouldn't factor in at all.
No, not at all. I cannot wait for what do they call her? The Queen of Thorns? Marjorie's grandma to turn back up.
Oh,
because Marjorie made a sparing comment about that.
And she has to go back to Highgarden.
Talk to me, Nan, then.
Yep.
Get you murdered.
Nan's coming back.
Do you know the thing of Game of Thrones is I wonder if Nan is coming back. I wonder if that's just it, and maybe next episode Marjorie will get her throat slit.
Oh, they'll probably fucking hell, yeah. Yeah, then no one's safe really, are they? Every time you think someone's winning, it's like Tywin Lannister. He was a big old surprise for me.
Well, he's Tywin Lannister, who is ostensibly at that point like the biggest, most powerful person in King's Landing, and he gets shot on the toilet by his son.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I mean, Game of Thrones can come for you in a very cruel way.
Oh yeah,
that interests me with Jamie last episode or episode before last saying. he killed my father.
Yes.
If I see him, I'll split him in two, or some.
And then I'll give him your regards.
Yeah, that interests me because I wonder if he was keeping up appearances, or if
that felt,
or if Tyrion has no friends in the world now.
That felt utterly hate-fueled.
Yeah, I think there was a line at which Jamie was willing to cross, and he was willing to cross it for the sake of family. He never intended for anybody to have any sort of revenge on Tywin.
Yeah,
as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever intended for revenge to be placed on Tywin. I thought Tyrion escaping was his revenge.
Yes, of course.
But of course then he goes, I mean, that scene is monumental. He goes back in there and you see the woman on the bed and you don't know, and then you know it's Shay. Oh, heavens, and then she calls him... She calls Tywin my lion.
Yeah.
And at that point I was like, you've got to go.
Yeah, that was...
Your time here is done.
Yeah.
That's exceptional.
Stamp your card and clock out.
It's been fun. Exit over there, please. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's good. I think, this season is, I would say, probably slower than any of the previous seasons.
Considerably, but I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I really enjoyed it.
I'm appreciative of the fact that they're taking more time in order to set things up, I suspect, well beyond the end of this season and well into season 6.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think
there are storylines that, yes, okay, Arya is now with, in the house of black and white and black, whatever it's called, but it just...
She's learning to be a faceless man.
She's learning to be a faceless person.
Yeah.
But how she is going to be reintegrated back into the world, that is not going to happen inside of in like the equivalent of the next 5 or 10 episodes, 5 this series and 5 next.
No, absolutely. It'd be kind of disappointing if she just suddenly popped up and she was a magic man. All of a sudden.
I hope she's just going to be in the background of a scene somewhere, and then she'll wave her hand over the face, and then it'll be Arya, and then you see her just like in the background of a scene, or she'll have her new face or whatever, and you'll see that in the background of an important scene somewhere, but she'll have no interaction, and then just float back out again.
We'll discover at the end of the season that it's actually totally non-linear, and she's been Bruce Bolton the whole time. Her story actually happened 5 years ago.
Oh my
She's just been fucking around as Bruce Bolton.
Oh,
you see, there is a Stark in Winterfell.
And then she kills Ramsay. She kills Littlefinger.
Yeah, it's just her and
kills
Sansa.
Walder.
I
had a moment of that when I realised that Ramsay's... Bruce's wife was Walder.
Was Walder, one of the Walders.
Well, of course, did you... I mean, this is the thing that I just... I had to have pointed out to me, but Ilan Payne is on the way with... I forget the Tyrell father, but the... sort of Wet Tuesday.
Oh yeah, they're one of those guys.
But they're on the way to Bravos, which is where...
No, isn't it Sumerian Trant?
Oh, sorry, Sumerian Trant.
Ilan Payne was the executioner.
Sumerian Trant. Sorry,
he's on the way with.
He's on the way with. On the subject of knights of the King's Guard. Rest in peace, Barristan Selmy.
So Barristan Selmy, what a way!
Went
to go.
out like a fighter.
Yep. There were several times though where the choreography of that fight did not line up because he should have had his arm chopped off at least in 2 counts, and then it cut scene, and all of a sudden he was parrying that shot, which was impossible.
Well, they're I suppose matching him up. He's like what is he, Irish, that guy, and that actor, and he's probably in his 60s with like a 22-year-old guy from Lewisham or wherever Grey Worm's from.
Yeah.
They can't really make them dance together, can they?
No.
It's so different.
I love Grey Worm, he's cool.
Yeah, he's right.
Local
boy, I like him.
So what? Meryn Trant and the Lord Tyrell is going to
the Iron Bank of Bravos.
They're going to Bravos
to renegotiate.
Yeah,
and
that's
interestingly,
good. That's good. Greece, take notes.
Yeah. Interestingly,
turn up with a heavy.
Yeah, I read in a review online that when you actually go back and listen to the list of names that Arya is chanting compared to last season to this season, completely different now. There are names that have dropped off, but there are names that have been added, and Sumerian Trant is one that has been added. Compared to last season, it just was not there before. So I'm hoping that sets that up perfectly.
Is it because she needs to take a certain amount of lives? Maybe it's the number, so she's filling the list with the lower priority guys because half of them are dead off her list anyway.
Maybe.
How many lives for the red card?
I sort of want. This actually transitions quite well into what I wanted to talk about what I've been doing this month. It's sort of like
I've just been like, right, okay, I've saved 5 people. I've pulled 5 people back from the edge of the tube when they're about to get splattered by the tube, so I need to kill 5 people. All right, you guy at work, you are not performing. You didn't bring in the cake I like. You tried to feed me nuts. You're number 2.
Nick, how did you know my plans?
Stomping on cats all month to try and make it up to one human soul.
Now he's going to have to save somebody else so that I'm number 6 now.
Exactly. Well, what I was going to say was I would love to see. I mean, it won't happen, but I would love to see Arya's story turn into just this blood-soaked revenge of just her slicing her way through.
Well, like the penultimate episode of the series altogether, they could do that. I'd watch an hour of her just pirouetting around murdering.
I absolutely agree. Yeah. Do you know what I hope the final season is? I hope the final season is because the first season starts with everybody geographically and storyline-wise very close together, and I hope that the final season crushes them all back together again.
Yeah, I think it will.
Everybody is. At odds. I mean, we still have not got any sort of resolution or any sort of confirmation, anything about Daenerys's vision of ostensibly vision of the future when she was in that tower at the end of season 2, where you see not only the throne hall of King's Landing with holes in the roof,
full of snow,
and a dragon passing overhead.
Yeah.
Mm. I mean, that to me, I want. So winter has come.
Yep.
And
shit's gone down.
And the thing's been burnt to the, or not burnt to the ground, but the thing has got damaged by dragonfire. If that's season 7, brilliant.
Yeah. I just completely forgotten about that.
Yeah. Well, that's because it's so. I mean, it's 90 seconds 3 years ago.
And at the time, we never could have understood the significance of any of it.
But to me, it sort of shows if that's a sort of little peak of the end game. I would love that.
Yeah.
What I was going to say in terms of blood-soaked revenge saga is this month I played Dishonored.
Oh, of course.
And you're late to the party on Fallout, and I'm extremely late to the party on.
Well, I'd say I'm more late on Fallout.
Oh no, Dishonored! Dishonored 2012.
Yeah.
But you slept in longer than I did, clearly. But yeah, I played Dishonored this month. Now I don't know why I didn't pick up Dishonored when it first came out. But I was a bloody idiot not to. Because I mean, you know me, I like a stealth game, and it is fucking fantastic.
As I said the other day, it is, in my mind, it is Deus Ex crossed with Splinter Cell.
Oh yeah,
with magic thrown in there for good measure.
I love the magic, and I was not expecting to, and I love.
No, it's nice to have. I mean, you always get a smattering of powers that will apply to everybody, and normally I will end up in most RPG or whatever games where you have abilities or magic spells or whatever. I will normally use a fifth, maybe a quarter of that overall ability wheel, and I was at like 3/4 on Dishonored. Like I used nearly everything.
Nice.
At least I used everything once, but in regular missions and whatever, I would work my way through the wheel, knowing like, right, I like that. That has a place. That has a place. That has a place. Certain things don't.
Do you know what I got first thing?
Is it Blink?
No.
Oh, no, I know what you've going to go. You would have gone for Shadow Kill, I bet, which then turns a body into ash once you've killed it so it can't be discovered. No, still wrong. All right, in that case, I'm going to go with third time lucky, Dave being the master of time, I'm going to go the Time Warp.
Time Warp.
Yeah.
Like, literally, the first thing I did is, because I think it suggests pretty heavily that you should get Blink first. And I did. I got the first level of Blink first. But then I saw, when you open up your powers page, I saw the fact that there was a time dilation one, and the first level of it was it dilates time and it slows it down significantly, and the second level of it was it freezes time entirely. So I had to, and it's a really heavy one. It's like 8 runes you've got to get.
Oh yeah,
it's like 2 levels worth of runes. So I just kept stocking up on these things, and I got that first Blink, and I left everything else, and I got the 2 2 levels of time in one go. I just stocked up and just went boom, boom. Right, good. Okay, now I've got Time Freeze. Time Freeze was invaluable for me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I used it to just, because like an open courtyard with a bunch of people where you think, I'm going to have to spend a lot of time sneaking around. I just froze time and ran through it. It's like, that was, and then you'd hear behind you somebody go like, huh?
Yeah.
With a door closed. But I thought it was fantastic. And then I want to play the game again. So I played the game I mean, 98% non-lethal.
Yeah.
I killed only the sort of end characters of levels, and occasionally I didn't kill those. And I would only ever kill a guard. I mean, it's very, very rare. But if they discovered me and there was just nowhere around it, I would kill a guard. Most of the time, I choked them out. Ted, did you? I forget when you started Dishonored.
Yeah,
I don't
played
want
like
to give too much away.
the first hour maybe.
Yeah.
And then I got it as a game with gold and played the first hour again. But I haven't even really got to the point of upgrading anybody. So now that we're talking about it, I'll probably give it a go.
I would. Do you know what? Having gone all the way through it, because I thought at the start, oh, this is a stealth game, and I know you're not too hot on.
I'm not
stealth games.
hugely, no, especially first person ones.
And I got a little bit into it, and I realised it could be played as a sort of semi-stealth, semi-full combat game. A bit like it's a bit like The Last of Us. I mean, people forget The Last of Us is ostensibly quite. I mean, it's a stealth game.
It wasn't when I played it.
Not when you played it, but that's the thing with Dishonored is, I mean, because I played The Last of Us and avoided a lot of encounters by stealthing around them.
You see, I played Dishonored in that I would stealth to the point where I could kill one guy and have nobody else notice, and then stealth and just murder everybody else.
Did you get the ash thing then?
Interestingly, that was the one thing I got that, but I didn't actually ever use that, or if I did, I was like, because I felt, although I liked the whole magical abilities and whatever, I didn't want to use that because it felt too cheaty for me.
See, I would get that straight away.
When you get caught, they just turn to ash.
So there's very little consequence to the murder.
Yeah, see, this is the other thing. So I didn't. Now the thing with the murdering, with all the murderizing, is that
There's a lot of it.
It reacts. The city reacts.
Yeah, I'm aware of that,
Yeah.
which is why I didn't particularly want to play it, because I like murdering people and I don't want to get the bad ending because I killed bad guys.
But you can kill bad guys and still be on the good ending. But it's only if you do sort of like friendly fire, or if you execute people for absolutely no reason whatsoever, or if there's not an NPC but someone you interact with, you can choose to kill them. But that will have, like, for instance, as you say, Dunwall will then just end up having more rats in it, or there'll be more bodies and bags and piles on the streets if you are in the chaos side
that's it, chaos.
of the
panic.
But I think it also impacts. I mean, given the sort of conversations that I overheard people have about Dunwall and about me in the very, very low chaos thing. I mean, I got the sort of perfect ending.
Yeah.
And considering the conversations people were having, I would imagine that the game actually becomes a little harder, especially towards the end, if you are
high chaos,
straight up murdering everybody.
It's not a bed, it's a greenhouse.
Oh. There you go, a news update from the Chinese people next door. It wasn't a bed, it was a greenhouse.
Okay, so it's a greenhouse in which they will put a bed and sleep in.
Undoubtedly.
without curtains.
The Dishonored, the Chaos thing. It's I got the what I would think is the perfect ending, I would think if you start piling corpses during levels, I think it will start to get slightly harder for you towards the end. It's not that it's punishing you; it's that it's genuinely reacting to the fact that there is a person on a revenge trip that is killing everybody.
Yeah, so we need more guards out.
So we need more guards out, and I'm going to make if I'm a bad guy, I'm going to make slightly harsher decisions because I don't necessarily, I'm feeling threatened by this and so on and so forth. But I loved it absolutely, and the world. I mean, the aesthetics and the way that world works, is magic. I thought it was fantastic. I heard it described as whale oil punk.
Steampunk. Yeah,
so that was a great phrase. But yeah, I mean, everything from just how people talk, which I thought was great that they had a place that looks like Victorian London. Has a sort of Britishy type name, Dunwall.
Yep.
Has a sort of Britishy type name, but has an empress, and everybody speaks in a mid-Atlantic American accent. I really liked that. I just thought the whole thing was, it felt quite unique, and I really valued that. I thought that was really cool. And the magic powers I thought they were going to be rubbish, if I'm honest with you, but they were terrific. Especially Possession. Possession, which is...
I use that a lot on guards. Guards,
so
if
good.
it was just one guard who noticed me, and I was like, "Oh balls!" I'd just possess him and just walk him off the edge of something.
Yeah.
Or deliberately walk him. Could you make them shoot other people?
No, you can't make them combat. You can open doors and walk around when you're inside them. Which I thought was great because it's not like you're possessing them from afar. You are literally inside them.
Yeah.
So if they notice, as you said, if somebody notices you, to avoid them going and pressing the alarm bell, you possess them and then just walk them around the corner and then you pop out behind them and of course either choke them or kill them or whatever. The other thing was when you possess people, if you stay in them for the sort of the maximum amount of time allotted, when you get it forces you out of them.
Doesn't it force you out in front of them?
No, it forces you out in front of them. When you get forced out of them, they then throw up because they don't know how they got there. They have no idea.
Because you can possess rats as well, I think, can't you?
Yes, you can have fish. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that bit as a sort of tutorial.
But yeah, no, I really I'm Dishonored. I would, and of course now it being a Bethesda published game.
Oh yeah.
I hope that they reveal a bit at E3. What's that?
You don't. That is not. There is no way.
There
is no way. Oh, I don't know. It did get some
Requiem.
really good reviews.
Oh, there's no Requiem. There's no way that Bethesda put on a whole bloody show. No way you put on a whole bloody show just to announce Dishonored 2.
IPs. There's no way they're talking about what's that terrible horror game called that I bought recently?
The Evil Within?
Yeah, The Evil Within. If it was an Evil Within sequel...
You can't, considering they've never done a standalone press conference before.
You should play that game.
They can't turn around and have an entire... unless they do little bits on their... But that would make no sense, because previously
I'm
they've just integrated into...
Truly. But I'm concerned now, because I couldn't think of any other IPs.
I wasn't concerned before, but now I am.
Exactly. I couldn't think of any other IPs that they had. Other than Fallout, particularly.
Other than Elder Scrolls, but there's not going to be anything like
yeah,
that for a while.
if they announce the whole thing for the first Elder Scrolls Online expansion, or something,
then
obviously that's
I reckon that will be. I reckon there will be an ESO. Well, what do they call it? ESO Tamriel Unlimited expansion at some point in their press conference. But there is no way that's going to be there's no way that's going to be the meat of it.
Let's bloody well hope so.
Yeah.
If they come. Really, if they start, like if that press conference ends without an E3 for a couple of years now, it's been nothing but hype over things that we thought were going to happen and then just didn't happen.
Yeah. Delayed.
I will never forget the feeling I had, the crushing feeling I had when the Microsoft logo came up, the Remedy logo came up, and then it wasn't Alan Wake's Hill. I mean, my God, I'm excited for Quantum Break, but in that moment, I wanted to destroy Finland.
Yeah.
Like, this,
Bring me Alan Wake!
Bring me the head of Sam Lake. I thought, and so if Bethesda have blocked out a whole hour of time to talk about everything but Fallout fucking 4, then somebody's doing their job wrong. Well, maybe somebody's doing their job right because you're going to tune into it.
Oh yeah,
yeah, we'll be there day one.
But the fury.
Oh yeah, it will be unbridled.
We know it's happening. Okay, we know Fallout 4 is happening.
Did you see a bloke who on his LinkedIn page?
It is his LinkedIn, yeah.
His LinkedIn page. You put was he
cinematic
artist for Fallout 4.
Oh yeah, I'd seen that.
And they said, and then Bethesda sent little notes round to all of the news stations, just being like, "Oh yeah, just take that off. It's an infringement on our NDA, and it's completely unfounded. There's nothing going on. Take it down."
What absolute rot! Of course, there's a Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is Bethesda can say whatever they like.
They'd be like it would.
But when they make that much money, you're making another one. Like there is a Red Dead 2 out there, or Red Dead 3 if you want to count Revolver.
Yeah.
There is a Red Dead sequel out there. Rockstar San Diego are making another Red Dead. They have not talked about it in 5 years. But the thing is happening. When you sell 100 million units, the thing is happening.
You are stupid not to go back there.
It's the same as like, do you think there'll be a next GTA game? Oh, I don't know. They haven't announced it. They might just make Table Tennis 2. Like, fuck off. Like, stop treating us like idiots. And when you put these ridiculous, statements out there where you say, "Oh no, it's not happening," I breached our NDA or whatever. Breached your NDA for a game that doesn't exist, idiots.
Yeah, may have breached that employee's NDA, but you take that up with the employee, not with the
no, I don't know.
the news station. Just before we drift too far away, an interesting link which you made between Arya murderising people and Dishonored murderising people.
Yes.
Callista
Kernel.
Yes,
Lena Headey.
Lena Headey.
Yeah, the voice cast for that fucking game is fantastic.
Yep, Chloe Grace Moretz as the princess.
Yeah, and then John Slattery from Mad Men, Roger Sterling is the Captain Havelock.
Oh, really?
Yep.
And
I need to revisit that game.
Brad Dourif plays Pietro.
Good.
Piero,
Yeah,
the inventor. And there's a bunch of other pretty big name people in it. And it's terrific. It really is. I also really enjoyed the. Had you acquired the heart by the time you stopped playing it?
No, but I watched Nick play it enough on Saturday mornings before we went out to play football to know about them. The Edgar Allan Poe moments in that.
Right, that heart. So I thought early on, I'd be a sort of Billy Know-It-All, but I thought early on, this is the Empress's heart.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
They've given me the Empress's heart. They never confirm that. It's just,
they don't tell you what it is. It's just a tool.
But what I liked is that the universe and the lore is deep enough that you can think, right, that the weird mystical guy has given me the Empress's heart, or something that channels her spirit or whatever. Sort of keep my. I thought the lore of the game was fantastic, and that the way that the magic was integrated was terrific. I didn't know until a little sort of hint came up about a third into the game that I could actually, if you point the heart at somebody,
yes,
it tells you secrets about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the thing was that I always thought it was a real person's heart, because one of the earliest things that it says is, "I'm so cold." Like, where am I?
Yeah.
And it's quite creepy. And I played the whole thing with headphones. I play most games with my headphones on. And the dual stereo thing that it does, it bounces back and forth between the left and the right.
Nice.
When it's talking, it's got this fantastic thing where it bounces back and forth. Sound design in games is really good. I just mentioned Alan Wake. The whole thing with Alan Wake is when you put the torch over the yellow paint that is left that points the way to certain things.
Yeah.
You can actually hear the breathing of Tom the Diver. In the right in the back channel of the stereo.
Yeah, see, until I got speakers for my TV, I'd never heard it. So my whole first playthrough of it, I never heard it.
Yeah, that's because TV speakers these days are shite. Yes. So the fact that you've got a dedicated system,
I can tell you
why.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
That's really spectacular. Well, because people demand thin televisions, so there's no way for televisions to self-amplify because there's so little physical stuff for the sound to reverberate through. Yeah. Also, that way you'll buy a soundbar or surround system. Yeah, right. And if you've got a Samsung TV, you'll buy a Samsung one just for the sake of symmetry. Load of shit. I haven't heard a particularly impressive soundbar until yesterday, at which point I was in the Samsung audio conference.
Yeah.
And was listening to them all 50 feet away, and still ringing in my ears from some of them. Some of the new multi-room speakers, they're making it gorgeous. They look like the turrets from Portal 2.
I was the instant you said that, I was like, I'll go with that.
Yeah, look up the Samsung R7 multi-room speaker. You can mount. They look like light fittings. They look like pieces of furniture. You can. The guy who was presenting it is getting 2 installed upside down in the ceiling. Because they're that good, they're full 360 degrees.
So if shell comes through, it'll just shred it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just
are you still there?
Exactly. But yeah, they're really fantastic, really, really phenomenal, and it's such a simple technology that makes them as good as they are. But it works incredibly well.
That's wicked.
Yeah, they're really, really nice. But they're £500 a piece RRP. So
oh boy!
So yeah, I ain't get one of those. They're about a foot tall. Something like
that. Yeah. I'll have 2 at twice the price.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what the guy did. But yeah, they are phenomenal. Like, if I was a crazy rich person, I would have 4 in every room in my house.
Yeah.
If I won the Euro Millions, they're that good.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
All right,
taking us off the beaten track there.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll stop talking about random shit we did this month and greenhouses, and we'll start talking about the month's entertainment.
All right, booper duper.
All right, real talk. It's Chino's season, isn't it?
Chino's season.
Yeah, I think it's Chino's
As in
season.
to
I think
wear
I was
warm
walking.
enough.
I was out walking, and I was really, really warm in these jeans today. So yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you meant like chinos were coming in fashion because I don't.
Well, it's
I don't
not.
know
Well,
if they're in
it could be.
fashion.
It could be Al Pacino season.
Yeah,
you know.
like I'm cool with Al Pacino season.
Do you know what I
Are
saw
we all
the
going
other
to dress
day?
like Al Pacino, or are we just?
No, we
gonna
just have the
watch Al
attitudes,
Pacino?
or we just grab each other by the collar and smack each
Okay.
other around a bit. Yeah.
Cool.
Take
Al
loads of
Pacino's,
cocaine.
Al Pacino's when you go really loud, and then you go quiet.
That's pretty much Christopher Walken as well.
No, Christopher Walken is all the time. It's all
No, Christopher Walken is all the time. All the time.
I was a little intimidated there.
Yeah, I think that's Christopher Walken. He's that guy who is completely and utterly not frightening, but but he also is totally.
No, Christopher Walken is frightening.
See, I don't think
He
he's
is-
frightening at all. But I've only ever seen him as like. No, I don't think he's frightening at all.
If you went to your girlfriend's house and he was her father,
Oh
and you opened the
Jesus!
door, and let me tell you, you can say whatever you like on this podcast, you'd shit yourself.
I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't think he's frightening. I kind of like him.
This
It looks kind of
this
huggable.
reminds me of the what was it? The would you? What was it? Which scenario would you pick that we used to do?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
With,
what, in which so and so's.
So
So-and-so's the father-in-law.
No, you said who would you pick as the father of your future wife? Would it be Bill Belichick, Darth Vader, or Judge Dredd?
Judge Dredd.
Or the infamous
Lady Gaga.
or the infamous fourth option of Lady Gaga.
Or Lady Gaga, which
Yeah.
occasionally was Nicki Minaj and a couple of other.
Lady Gaga is incredibly cash strapped.
Really?
Yeah, she
Probably because she spends so much money on those stupid outfits.
You're absolutely right.
The entire bacon budget is done for 6 years.
I had a bacon bagel today for breakfast, and it felt good.
It's felt sinful.
Well, I'm not. I don't have to.
No, I know,
I'm
but
not
you know,
Jewish,
it's kind of like shagging in a church or something, isn't it? A bacon bagel.
Is it? Are they on the same level?
Yeah.
Are they on the same
Yeah,
level?
absolutely.
Are you trying, because you've shagged in the church, are you trying to make it... Yeah.
Whilst eating a bacon bagel.
Are you
yeah.
trying to make it a scale here?
Double.
Because that is not...
Yeah.
the
No, I don't
double
know. I'm fairly certain that's cool.
heavens. Yeah, that's...
It's a really abstract moment there.
let me... I mean,
well.
let me be
Just
clear
let you
with
guys
Ted.
know what I'm all about, yeah?
What? Shagging in churches and bacon
Eating
bagels?
bacon bagels. Make that into a
Were you
t-shirt.
shagging the bacon bagel? Is that what it's really
Oh.
about?
Oh, well, nobody needs to ask questions like that.
And that was the PGK podcast. Tune in next time.
Yeah.
Oh, carnal knowledge of food.
Well,
I
they made a whole movie about it in the 90s.
Well,
so-
you know what? I was just
We
gonna bring
really
up
need to stop saying the
American
word whole.
Pie. Oh, hey now. Look, American Pie is a classic. It's a cinematic classic.
Yeah.
Are they supposed to? I think they're bringing it back, aren't they?
They already
One
they
final
did,
instalment
they
with
did
the original
American
cast.
Reunion.
But are they
which
doing
was-
another one?
I think they are doing another one. Yeah. But it has only highlighted just how old we are and how old the cast is now. In that Alison Hannigan has gone from like cute, very early 20s woman to mother.
Yeah, it's kind
And
of...
like
Yep.
it's got real for us now.
that
I
rule-
found 2 grey hairs the other day. I'm not in a good place. Like, mentally, I'm not in a good place right now.
Just to make it worse in that case, the exception to the rule is Jason Biggs, who I watched the pilot of Orange is the New Black, and then probably will never watch that again.
Okay.
Because I'm not a woman in my 30s.
Okay.
Or in prison.
Or in prison. But he looks exactly the same.
Oh, god damn.
He looks exactly the same. He's
like Keanu
still-
Reeves.
Yeah, only kind of... Keanu Reeves has always looked about 30, except when he was Ted in Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Which obviously was the best one of the two of them. But they... Like, he's always looked sort of 30, maybe a very young 35.
Yeah.
But Jason Biggs still looks like 19.
I'd never want to look 19. Actually, I looked pretty good at 19.
Yeah, I was going to say, you kidding me?
The
19 was a great year.
when I was on Reddit the other day and I saw a thread on the movies thing which was about come up with a marathon of 4 movies that have a tenuous link, and somebody posted the following: Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Kill Bill, Ted.
I like it.
That's very good.
That's a good run.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
That's really good. I like that.
It tickled me.
Props to movie lover XX6969 for
Yeah,
that comment.
exactly.
No doubt.
Yeah, thank you very much. Give it an upvote, and away we go. The Keanu Reeves. Now, last time we had done this podcast, John Wick was not out in this country. We have now seen John Wick. That film
is the best fucking film.
That film sets an action movie precedent that will likely be bested this week by Mad Max.
Are we putting it on a par or above Judge Dredd?
It's certainly in the ballpark, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of low budget, punchy, awesome movies, I don't know. Do I like John Wick more than I like Dredd?
Do you like it more because it's newer? Be careful of the allure of the new.
I don't know. I think
like when you hear people talk about them. People talk about the Dark Knight now in a sort of negative tone, and I think to myself, like fucking 5 years ago, you were saying this was a masterpiece, and the same people are now like, "Oh, I'm really looking forward to Ben Affleck. He looks like a true Batman."
No,
they're all fucking true Batman. Like, shut up.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't think so. I think Dredd was very cool. Dredd is an exceptional 5-star movie. Like, yes. I'm in no way disparaging Dredd here, but I think I enjoyed how stylized and how cinematic John Wick was. John Wick was a very well-made film, as well as being fun and a good story.
Just stunning, considering the pedigree it comes from, of a sort of I forget the name of one of them, but the 2 directors, only one of which is credited.
He's credited, absolutely.
The 2 directors, one of them is just a low-budget director, and the other one is Keanu's
stunt double, yeah,
from the Matrix trilogy, Chad Stahelski. God bless him, because that's a success story, isn't it?
Yeah, my God,
great job. And now they are coming back for number 2. That number 2 is going to happen. It is happening with Keanu and those 2.
Oh, phenomenal!
Excellent,
terrific. I didn't know that. That's really great.
That gives them just enough time to do that, and then be contracted for Cyborg for the DC Comics universe, which is exactly where I'd use them.
Man, I would have used those guys for anything. It's so good. It's got such a wonderful polish to it. I love it. I like the colour palette is totally different from any other movie of that genre.
Yeah.
It's like a beautiful, weird turquoise film.
Yeah, it's got a weird turquoise.
It has, isn't it? From the trailers I watched, yeah.
It's like teal and turquoise. It's a gorgeous film. It's so odd. The choreography of the fights is the best I've ever seen. The same as the shooting sequences. It doesn't spend ages breaking your heart just to make you understand how important it is for him to kill these people. They do that in character development instead.
I think the opening 10 minutes, especially of John Wick, are, in terms of script writing and cinematic storytelling, they are textbook. Exactly how you engage people in this character immediately. Right, bang, here's this guy. He was a bad dude. He got a wife. He got out. The wife got sick. She bought him a dog. The wife dies. The dog is there. The dog's his best friend now. The dog is killed.
Yeah.
And you understand the emotional significance and the emotional journey inside the first 10, 15 minutes, and you are, at that point, you are like, yeah, let's just go kill them all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not an animal lover, and I was like, you killed the dog! Everybody must die!
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I love everything about that film. There's nothing I don't like about that film. Which is the same with Dredd, to be honest.
Yes,
I just found John Wick more engaging, I guess, a bit more charming.
Dredd is a charmed black hole.
Yeah, no, it's not a charmless film. No, absolutely no. But I'm in no way disparaging Dredd here. I absolutely adore that film.
Yes,
yes. But yeah, I think I like John Wick more.
Yeah.
Though I've only seen John Wick once, so maybe I should reappraise.
I thought it was terrific. I thought it was. I mean, Nick, I thought it was a very, very, very good film, and for such a sort of limited not scale, because the scale actually gets quite big, but for such limited stakes, i.e. they killed his dog, now he's got to kill them all. It was executed brilliantly.
Yeah, no,
absolutely brilliantly.
phenomenal.
And aside from the fact that the action sequences get very loud, they are quite restrained, and it actually sort of reminded me of what a Hitman movie should look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man on a mission, sneaking into areas.
Low impact, low stakes film that just done to absolute perfection.
Yeah, I thought it was great. What movies have I seen this month? I know, Nick, you were saying you caught up on a couple of Jake Gyllenhaal movies. I'm trying to think what I saw this month. I was on Netflix the other day. Oh, I rewatched Top Gun.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I haven't seen Top Gun in like a decade. And I rewatched Top Gun, and I remembered why it is a classic. Have you guys seen Top Gun? Because it sort of passes. So you haven't seen. So it sort of passes some people in our generation by, because it came out, I think, somewhere in the sort of mid 80s.
I think, wasn't it? 85, 86?
Somewhere around there.
Just before we were born.
Just before we were born. But it's also that it was just before we were born, and then it comes out on video when we're, in our infancy. And so then it just sort of passes by. And it's not like it hasn't had a sequel yet. But it's sort of ingrained in the culture.
Yeah.
And you watch it and you realise why, because it's one of these incredibly well executed films. It just, it's very stylised. It's very, very 80s, which is not always a bad thing. It's very, very 80s. It's very stylised. It has this MTV music video quality to it. That is a comment made in literally the best way possible. Exactly the same as the Miami Vice TV series. It is for the MTV generation in the 80s. It is big and colourful and loud, and it opens with a Kenny Loggins song, and there are fucking like 4 Kenny Loggins songs in there. And there's a bunch of other. It just and it's Cruise at the. That's apex Cruise, right?
Oh, yeah.
Top Gun is absolutely terrific. I would strongly recommend it, Ted. I really would. It's on the American Netflix. I don't know if it's on the UK Netflix, but it is.
I don't know if it still is.
Yeah, give it a root round, because it is terrific.
You'll have to be careful though. He is dangerous.
I don't get that joke yet, so give me 2 weeks and I will. Yeah,
you'll know, Ted. When you see it,
you'll know.
Yeah.
No,
Top Ironside in it as well. It's because of Michael Ironside.
Oh, yeah. Michael Ironside is always Top Ironside because he's always Michael Ironside.
Exactly. Yeah. Michael Ironside exists in this perpetual state of brilliance.
Okay.
I listened to the Nerdist podcast with Chris Hardwick. And there's an episode with Michael Ironside from a time ago now, and he is in real life. He is this incredibly thoughtful, very philosophical person.
Well, I can understand that. I can see that.
Which, to me, he's just a straight killer.
Like Steve Buscemi being like, "Hello, everybody. Would you like to hear my new single?"
Yeah, that'd be good.
I'd enjoy that immensely.
I like Steve Buscemi.
I love him.
Michael Ironside is incredibly softly spoken. Very philosophical chap who was just talking about life and the journey and just and calm and new experiences and all this rest of it, and not in a sort of new age hippie type way, just in a real fulfillment and life philosophy. And
I've been there. I've seen shit.
I've seen it was the Michael Ironside is in his mid-60s now. It was the speech of a man who had been around the world and done a load of different things, and he's a cancer survivor, and I would strongly recommend it. Look that podcast; it was absolutely terrific. And I hope they do get him back for Top Gun 2, because Top Gun 2 is in development, and was probably started in development a couple of years ago before, unfortunately, Tony Scott's suicide. And at that point it was sort of full steam ahead, but then they've had to extremely slow down on it to see what they're actually gonna do next. But I think through nostalgia alone, I think there's a market for a top 52.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and through the awful hipster thing that's happening in the UK at the moment as well, people will love that because there'll be 17-year-olds and 19-year-olds at that doing flips and being like, "Yeah, Top Gun's real cool" with their Top Gun Primark t-shirts and shit. Like that will do really well with the kind of ironic douche crowd that is populating the United Kingdom at the moment.
I essentially have a problem with them.
These trousers from Primark, but that doesn't mean that I take my worldview from their Family Guy t-shirts.
There's a podcast.
like our Water the Burn area.
So, talking of nostalgia, Nick, what do you think of the Jurassic World trailer?
I think it's fantastic. It for me, it encapsulates what Jurassic Park was, but on a slightly lighter scale. Like Jurassic Park was very dark and dangerous, and it was a constant level of terror. Whereas Jurassic World looks to have a few lighter moments in it, like because Jurassic Park had a few light moments at the beginning, and then shit hit the fan, and then it all went downhill from there. Whereas it looks like that Chris Pratt is just going to keep the tension nice and high, but then just soften the blow every so often with a few little comedic moments. But there is still going to be that ultimate level of terror in there. But it looks, for me, I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait for it. But it doesn't look as dark as the original for me, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because everything else that came after Jurassic Park was not very good. Whereas this is taking it back to what the original was, but on a level that I think will be more, I don't want to say family-wide, but it will appeal to wider audiences as well.
Okay, interesting. Ted, you look as if you were going to slightly disagree with that.
Yeah, well, I as a comment on its own, I just made weird up noises there, trying to think what I was going to say. As a comment on its own, before I begin my analysis, I thought after the first teaser that they were going to fix the CG, but they don't appear to have fixed the CG. I still think it looks ropey as hell. But that's besides the point. You can get past that. But my hype levels are on a 0 to 16 scale, as you both now are aware. And I'm at like a 3 out of 16. I'm not fussed at all. I'd like to see the new Chris Pratt movie, I guess. But I'm not bothered. It looks like a very generic action movie set.
It's got dinosaurs.
Yeah, I know.
Dinosaurs are cool enough.
Yeah, and that's exactly.
Dinosaurs should
that's
at
the
least
reason
put a 7 on them.
They might as well have said, "Here's the reason you should go and see this film. Go and see it anyway, even though it doesn't look very good. There's dinosaurs in it. Like I don't think it looks very exciting. I'm not hyped.
Interesting. Interesting. Are you a fan of the original Jurassic Park movies?
Some. I'm not crazy about them. I thought.
So even let's take the original in isolation.
I like that film, but I don't hold it in any kind of nostalgia. I think it's very dated. I don't think it's aged well, and I seem to be quite rare in that opinion.
Yeah, I was going to say I totally.
Yeah, see, I don't think it's particularly. I didn't think it's amazing at the time, and I don't think it's amazing now. I appreciate it for what it is. Great score, particularly. But no, I'm not a Jurassic Park fan.
Yes.
Capital J, capital P, capital F.
So coming as a non-JPF.
Yeah. I'm just not fussed.
Okay.
I like dinosaurs very much. I like Chris Pratt very much.
Yeah.
I'll
Chris Pratt riding a bike with a load of dinosaurs out around.
Maybe, but like, who cares? Like, that's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah. In my own mind, I'm just not fussed. As I say. So I'll see it on Netflix in 2 years' time.
I think bullshit would be the day one.
No,
because I'm dragging you.
Yeah, that's the thing. You guys will keep badgering about it all week, and I'll say, "No, I'm okay, thank you."
Yeah,
and you'll be like, "No, I'm booked your ticket."
Just tell them to pick you up.
Chloroform the shit out of me, and I'll just wake up in the gallery.
I've done it before.
I'll do it again.
Yeah. How do you think you got to that wedding? The thing with Chris Pratt, I think Chris Pratt is the next great movie star.
Yes.
I kind of hope so. I find him immensely likeable.
Oh, he's so charming.
He just seems like such a good dude.
And I hope that he crosses between the sort of do you know what I'd really like in this? I'd love to see him in a rom-com.
I'm kind of surprised he didn't start there. Actually,
I'd love to see him
just
dip in and out of doing huge budget movies and then go down to a rom-com and then come back up again and all the rest of it. It doesn't, as a sort of as a straight male, it's not exactly the first thing you expect somebody to say. So, I'd love to see him in a rom-com, but it's I think to show range. I think
he's started at a better point than someone like Ryan Reynolds, who was probably Chris Pratt 10 years ago now.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds is the great missed opportunity.
He is absolutely because he's so likable and so charming, but he's now gone back to doing really shit films again. like, well, not really shit films, but he's gone back to doing silly rom-coms and throwaway stuff. And he's a shame, and now he's too old to be an action star.
I think he's trying to bring it.
Paul Rudd.
He's trying to bring it back. Ryan Reynolds, that is, by doing a bunch of indie films and a bunch of smaller films.
Yeah.
So he then went into that sort of quite bloated area of his career around Green Lantern and did a bunch of sort of quite big...
Trying to dilute the Green Lantern in his career.
Yeah, exactly. And R.I.P.D. and all the rest.
Oh, God, yeah, I forgot about that. Him and my man Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges, who probably bought a nice house because of that movie, aping the Michael Caine Jaws 4 The Revenge Statement, where nobody's ever... He hasn't seen Jaws 4. George Foreman. He hasn't seen George Foreman either. He's got his grill. But Michael Caine said, when asked why he starred in Jaws 4, he said, well, I haven't seen it, but by all reports it's terrible. I have, however, seen the house it bought. And that's lovely.
Yeah.
So, people
prepared a little house for you, more.
Exactly. Not that big, mate. Oh, not that little. It's in Malibu, I think. So there's a precedent of people of certain stages doing things for the money. I think Jeff Bridges was certainly doing that with R.I.P.D.
No, I can't blame him though.
No, I don't blame him. If somebody came to me and said, "We'll offer you twice the amount of money that you're currently making for half the effort,"
Go and barely act.
I saw a little thing on online the other day that what's his face put up? Paul Bettany put up. Just being like, I'm really pissed they gave me a character now, because before I'd just turn up for 45 minutes, read some script, record, they give me a stack of money, I walk away. Now I've got to act and shit.
It's very droll, very, very droll. I thought it was clever. He did the whole of Iron Man 1, 2 and 3 and the Avengers. He did it down an ISDN line from London. He never even went to the States.
Oh, fantastic.
So he did all of that. He's Jarvis too.
Oh, of course he is, yeah. Sorry, that was really bothering me. I was like, why haven't I seen Paul Bettany's face in any of these? Did they just CG Robert Downey Jr. onto him after contract disputes?
Yeah. Paul Bettany just did. He's the David Prowse of the Avengers universe.
Oh man, I'm really glad that you guys noticed my facial expression there, because that was really bothering me the whole time. It's like, fucking, I think I like Paul Bettany. I would have recognised him in something.
Hey, you need to see...
You've not seen Age of Ultron. He is in Age of Ultron. So yes, in the flesh. But
what was that Paul Bettany film that me and Dave wanted to watch, but you refused
Legion.
Legion.
Oh,
no, there was another one as well.
I didn't refuse to see that. I'd seen it a year previously.
Priest.
It was really bad. Oh. That film is so bad. It's not even good bad.
What I want is a steampunk genre film that stars Carl Urban and Paul Bettany.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's got werewolves in it.
Yes. I don't know, you're losing me with the werewolves.
Right, it's got werewolves with top hats.
Oh, okay. Give it every
clockwork guns.
Clockwork monocles that constantly rotate. Yes. Okay, fine. Yeah. I'll give you $20 million to get that off the ground.
Right, we're on it. Here's the thing about Jurassic World. I hope that what they are doing with Jurassic World is showing all of the big crowd-pleasy bits. Crowd, of course, not including yourself.
No, of course.
But all the big crowd-pleasy bits. And they're not showing the deeper sort of lore side of Jurassic World, because I think there's a lot of stuff you could explore. I was very disappointed that they have sort of shown so many of the dinosaurs that they were going to see, because it's nice that they're bringing a bunch of people. That they are bringing back the T-Rex from the original film. The T-Rex from the original film is still alive in that universe,
and it should be, I suppose,
and is still on the island. But what I really hope, is that so this takes place, in universe the same amount of time later that it is in real life. Course, so it's 22 years later. And they finally, and they finally got the park up and running, and people are coming, and all the rest of it. And what I hope that they built the park on the other side of the island to the original Jurassic Park, which is why it's called Jurassic World, not Jurassic Park. And I hope that we go back to Jurassic. I think there'd be nothing cooler than having their adventure,
seeing the Jeeps again,
going back to the original Jurassic Park, which is just trashed. because they decided, right, fuck it, let's build it on the other side of the island. We'll move the dinosaurs when we can in containers.
Not try and build it round them.
But that would be so cool.
It's just such a terrible idea. It's been 22 years. That's not long enough. Surely the park planning commission and that were like, you know what? Let's not try that again. That was an awful idea. Everybody died, except the Australian guy and a couple of kids.
But no paying customers died because the park wasn't open.
No, actually I suppose that's true, isn't it? It was just a massive.
So viably, there was just security issues around it.
So we tried it again. Just teething problems.
Yeah. Well, the thing is though,
teething problems.
Very good.
Let's build another giant Rex.
Very good.
It's just
the thing is though, it is public.
It's a health and safety fucking nightmare.
It is public knowledge about what happened though, because in 2 and 3, Grant and Sadler have gone public on it, and Grant especially is vociferous in his opposition to it. I'm really hoping for a top secret, either Sam Neill or Jeff Goldblum cameo.
Oh, Jeff Goldblum!
No, I hope it's not Jeff Goldblum.
Maybe it needs to be Jeff Goldblum.
Maybe both of them. Ted? Talk to me about your irrational hatred of Jeff Goldblum.
It's not irrational hatred.
Because let me tell you, Jeff Goldblum is perhaps the best person on earth.
My mother would agree with you there. She absolutely adores him.
Your mother is a person of good taste.
I would say so.
How did she produce you?
About 3 years ago, I watched The Lost World Jurassic Park. And I hadn't seen a Jeff Goldblum film since probably Jurassic Park. And
you never watched The Fly? It was a great film.
No, I didn't. That man cannot act. He is a bad actor.
That's completely correct.
He is a stammering nightmare of a man.
That's called Goldbluming. That is his acting talent.
It's Goldbluming, it's not acting. The guy isn't a good actor. He is immensely likeable. He seems like he'd be great fun to hang out with for about 10 minutes until he kept reminding you he was Jeff Goldblum, because that seems like something he would do. He'd be like, like that episode of Family Guy where a very brief cutaway where they say, like, there's Dean Cain sitting on a bench in a park and he covers his mouth with his hand and goes, "Oh my god, is that Dean Cain?" And he's like, "Oh, you guys stop." And that's the kind of guy that I would expect Jeff Goldblum to be. He'd be like, I was in a movie once. And I'd be like, "Jeff, just take your Ritalin and shut up." But no, there's
throwing mad shade.
I might as well. I don't know why. He totally doesn't deserve this much vitriol, but he just really bothers me. Like he's one of those guys that everyone's like, "Oh, the new Jeff Goldblum movie," and it's like he's just going to stammer.
Is everyone really like, "Oh, the new Jeff Goldblum movie"?
Well, people like you guys are, but no, I think he's a bit shit, really. And I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but I just don't care. And also in the second one, he suddenly has a black daughter.
She's adopted. They mentioned that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I think I fell asleep during the movie, but like,
the movie's bad.
I'm
happy. I like The Lost World.
I'm happy to admit that I watched
fine.
it.
Lost World's okay. Everything after that, I can do.
3 is dreadful. 3 is dreadful. It's such a shame that
cinema.
Sam Neill came for. I saw that cinema as well. Such a shame.
I'm willing to admit, undoubtedly, that I watched it at the wrong time. I watched it 15 years after I should have watched it. But I just like that kind of thing. You know me, I differently from you guys, I am not nearly as nostalgic as you guys. I'm not nearly as I don't hold things in reverence in the same way that you guys do. Nothing is sacred to me. So
I have to say, when we went to the Sob and you started spitting everywhere, it was
I just wanted to take a piece of turf home with me, but no one would let me. No, you know what I mean. I don't hold entertainment in the same kind of reverence as you guys. If I go back to The Land Before Time and it turns out it was shit all along, I will say happily, "My God, this is terrible." Like, obviously that film is terrible, but like, even if it's objectively good, but I don't like it anymore because I'm an adult, I will also happily say that. I'll just say I don't
think I'm holding on to Jurassic Park, even though I think it's bad. I mean,
I'm not saying that at all.
Good.
I'm saying you still think it's good, but I am now viewing it from a completely different perspective, and I don't think it's good anymore.
Are you saying I'm emotionally stunted? That I'm stuck with my 5-year-old self.
God, you're exhausting.
Just
how
coming
does
at
that
me
make
like
you
this.
feel,
Just coming
Ted?
at me like this.
That's me. He's the one with the problem.
Ted, explain to me.
I would like to point out that you're the one that's shouting,
Yeah.
and every time you shout, there's an extra $20 on my.
If you would give me the talking bear instead of letting Dave
you're
hold
not
it the whole
having,
time,
you're not having Ted. Ted doesn't exist.
This is definitely a deeper problem that I have.
Now, Ted, explain to me in single words only the good things that come to mind when I ask you about your mother.
Well, this got awkward.
I can't do it. I'm a replicant.
Okay.
Unlike Deckard.
Deckard's a replicant. Moving on to people who are not replicants. Batman vs Superman trailer.
Superman's a replicant.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just so excited. I'm so excited.
About
so
what, Superman
excited.
being a replicant, or are we actually
Yeah,
on track
that
now?
too. Yeah, the tie-in to
Okay.
Blade Runner.
No, let's
Yeah, I'm,
No, BVS is the nuts.
yeah. I came into it with absolutely, or not even zero expectations. I came into it with the expectation of it being absolutely awful.
Yeah.
And
This is coming from three people that adored Man of Steel.
yeah,
Yeah.
Adored
absolutely.
it. And when they announced Batman vs Superman,
Still a terrible title.
yeah, but how else are you going to do it?
Yeah.
You have to put.
Don't put the
Imagine,
subtitle.
imagine this. You have to put Batman and Superman in a title.
Yeah.
Because WB are going to tell you as the marketing people, or tell you as Zack Snyder, you have to title it with something like Batman, Superman, and probably the word justice in there. So it's clunky as hell as a title. But unfortunately they don't have a snappy term for it like Civil War with Marvel. They can't sort of call it Captain America Civil War. They have to call it the V is.
Yeah, it's the V. If it
Yeah.
were versus, if it was spelt versus VERSUS, I would be happier with it even then. But
But anyway, when they announced it, I did think this is back in It's back in 2013 because they announced it the pretty soon after the first one, and I thought to myself, as a person that at this point we'd just seen the Avengers, right? So the Avengers is a year old at this point in 2013 when they announced this. And the Avengers has come out, and it is proven that it is A, possible to put multiple superheroes in a movie, but B, the only time that it has been attempted, it is soulless. Because the Avengers, regardless of what people say about it, and I'm more than willing to take flack for this, the Avengers is a soulless movie.
I completely agree.
I think there are moments where the actors carve out real emotion for their characters. I think that there are moments where they all try their absolute hardest, and those actors are even better at doing that in Age of Ultron, which I know Ted you haven't seen, so I won't go into it too much. But those actors are even better at carving out those small moments of emotion. But the noise of the whole thing means that there's no thematic resonance, right? And people adore the Avengers. And when we all went to see it, I have to say, the first time you go see it, I adored it. I just thought that was absolutely terrific. But the memory of it fades after about 24 hours, and you start to think to yourself, what happened in that film that I really cared about?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Those were a collection of very, very good action scenes, but I didn't really care. Whereas the whole time that Keanu Reeves is slaughtering half of New York's Russian underground mob, you care because he's killing them because they killed his dog, which was sort of his wife. Like that's the thing is because
Well, you really cheapened that movie.
that's the thing is the
Kill his
emotional
dog wife.
the emotional core of it is intact.
Yes, of course.
And of course I'm being facetious, but it's that sort of thing. And the reason why Taken was a runaway success is because everybody has family, right? Everybody is somebody's son or daughter, and so that the family bond is one of the strongest things in human nature. And so Taken is about that family bond being wrenched away from you and you having to go through everything to go get it back. And even though it is a schlocky, sort of lo-fi action movie, it did incredibly well because people identified with it. Not just because Liam Neeson slaughters half of Turkey, but because that's the second one.
Taken
But,
too, yeah.
but not because he
Paris.
slaughters half of Paris. Thank you. But because you care why he's doing it. And in Avengers, everybody is just there and they're punching alien things. But the only thing that you really care about is Thor and Loki. That's the core of it. And everybody else almost has no reason being there. Right? It's very difficult. And the actors do their best to make you care. But I think that the main failing of the Avengers is they don't create a compelling reason that they are all there. mainly because they have a government organisation that tells them to be there, which is the main issue that the DC universe is going to have, in that I will be terrifically disappointed if Checkmate are the people that put the Justice League together.
Oh, well,
and it just doesn't make sense.
Big old problem.
And I don't think they will do that, thank God. When they announced Batman vs Superman, we're a year out from the Avengers, and I just had this horrible thing of how are they going to give them a reason to put them together. And the more I heard about it, the more I got hyped. The more I thought, okay, they're getting the right people. They're getting Chris Terrio, the writer of Argo, in. You know, Affleck was cast as Batman. I was, this is terrific, because I've always liked Affleck, and I think he's a terrific actor and director, and I think he's good for this. And they were bringing all these people on board, and Snyder was coming back, and Hans Zimmer's coming back, and they're bringing all the production team from 300 and Watchmen in, and it's just, the thing's going to look, I mean, regardless of what happens to it, the thing is going to look fucking gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
But I saw the first trailer, and I thought, yes, that's the sort, that's the moment where I was like, yes, I've sort of been rewarded for my patience. Ted, you came at it from a completely different angle of never believing. I sort of brought this belief, but you came in it from nothing.
No. It was as soon as they started casting all of the rest of the Justice League, I was like, oh man, this is going to be a total fucking mess. The casting is pretty good so far, but yeah, no, I very, very low expectations for it initially. But then, yeah, I saw the first proper trailer and it blew my mind completely. Was not expecting them to do anything daring, I think, is the other thing. That's the main thing. I wasn't expecting them to take any leaps whatsoever. As you say, I was expecting to be like the Avengers, in that they'd have one enemy to punch. That enemy would be the wrong choice for the situation. And that would be it. And then it'd be over and it'd be ruined, just like they ruined Green Lantern. That's what I was expecting.
Mad. You are still mad.
I'll always be mad.
Yeah.
I'll always be mad because, fucking, it might take us another 20 years to get another one of those movies.
Well, there will be one in 2020.
Oh, yeah,
that's on the docket. That's the last one of Phase 1.
It's still 5 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I had absolutely zero expectations. I expected to hate it. I expected to be angry about how bad it was, because every other DC move in any kind of cinematic or TV universe, other than ones that Christopher Nolan's been involved with, have been terrible. So, everyone's still... Arrow and Flash have great public reception, and Gotham have had great reception from the public.
Jesus.
But they're not true to the existing universe whatsoever.
No.
Other than the character names being the same and occasionally the costume colours being the same. But I just now after this one trailer, I've just got so much faith. I mean, even in Zack Snyder, in whom I've got plenty of faith anyway, now it's just I've totally flipped on it. I'm so excited for this film now. They're doing exactly what I wanted. If they'd done those situations on film, they're doing exactly what I would have wanted with them. The casting's great. Affleck, remains to be seen, but we'll see on me. But like everything, the production design looks amazing. The bat suit, the ideas they've had, the voice modulation in the suit, I absolutely adore that idea. That's so clever. And I can't believe no one's worked that one out yet.
I still don't know how that works, seeing as his mouth is completely open. But
it's Bruce Wayne, man. He's got a thing. He's going to have speakers.
There's Nick, in that movie there's a flying alien god. And you care about the voice modulator?
Yeah. Hey, it's the little things. It's not the big flying one.
Do you know what it is, though? I remember reading a J.J. Abrams quote from the first season of Fringe, and the thing was like, the first episode of Fringe has a face melting virus on a plane that can land itself. So the plane lands. It's sort of like a ghost train. The plane lands itself, and everybody in it has had their face melted off, and they're all skeletons and all the rest of it. It's actually just got this goop all over the floor. It's disgusting, and then it's the best show ever. But during that first episode, they get an old professor out of a mental institution, and they go back to his lab where it has been preserved for 20 years in Harvard. It's been sort of locked up, and then they've been granted access to it again, and they start there, and that's sort of how it all starts. And he starts doing new experiments in Harvard. And the thing that people said to J.J. Abrams more than anything, more than the self-landing plane or the face-melting goop, was, are you seriously implying they would let a building stand there for 20 years in Harvard and nobody would overtake that complex? Are you seriously thinking that we would let, that there would just be an empty office there? The square footage is worth so much money to these people. And so, yeah, that's the voice modulation thing, isn't it? That's the most human thing you can relate to, isn't it? Is the sort of that's the technology. It's like you take Superman as a given.
No, yeah, he's fine. True. He's from another planet. We don't need to question him.
It's cool. Yeah, that makes sense. But tell me why he didn't have to lace up his shoes at any point in this film. Yeah. It's interesting when people fascinate themselves with that kind of thing.
Yeah, how does Superman shave?
Yeah, well, he uses his laser eyes in a mirror, doesn't he?
Yeah, which is the canonical explanation. Yeah. But we'll never see him do that.
Well, I kind of hope we do. I'd like to see that.
I would.
Just a second.
Just pans into him in the bathroom, and then all you see is the mirror, and then the eyes glowing down.
Yeah,
with a clean shaved look.
I'd really like that.
I'd pay good money for that. Yeah,
no,
just as a little nod, just being like, we know.
I think we should start a sweepstakes of unlikely DC moments to be in the film, and see if we can get at least 3, some kind of nerd bingo.
Would you know?
Bingo.
Yes, actually, yes. The thing. I mean, Nick, we haven't really talked about your impressions of Batman vs Superman. Where were you on the scale of I totally believed, and this trailer made me, it vindicated my position.
I'll go same as I do with religion on the whole as a general. I was agnostic. I was entirely unsure as to whether it was going to be any good, but yet at the same time there was the potential for it to actually pull something out of the bag.
Yeah.
I still don't know if they're going to have that same. I'm glad of this. I don't think they're going to have the same recipe that Marvel do for. Here's what we need to do in order to sell a good movie, or rather, sell a movie.
Sell a movie. Yeah.
But I'm glad that they are going down
shade on Marvel there.
Glad that they're going down a different train of thought with it, being that we don't need to make it bright and colourful. We want to tell a story. We're going to tell a story, and here's how we're going to make you like it.
Yeah. So. I thought. Do you know what I thought was very telling the other day when Kevin Feige, the head of Marvel, said the Marvel universe will quote never take a dark turn, and I thought that was disappointing because the thing is from Warner Brothers' point of view, although these two, I mean, Man of Steel. I think Man of Steel is very inspiring as a story. I honestly do. People can point to the destruction at the end, but
that's the only bit anybody ever points at.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he lost a bit.
Yeah. Do you want your movies to have no stakes?
Yeah,
because this is the thing. I've said to you.
In most cases, people seem to, don't they?
Apparently,
people don't want to feel stressed when watching a movie.
Well, I've said to you about Age of Ultron. I don't think it's too much to give away, but I mean, nobody dies in Age of Ultron at any point. There are no civilians that die. So during really, a 2.5 hour...
What was the threat?
Where the threat is a genocidal AI that is supposed to despise humanity, and at no point do civilians die. Yeah. There can be an argument to be made that maybe half a dozen of them die, but there is no definitive proof of that. Now, it's not bloodlust. I want there to be stakes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, it's like the Feige's thing about it never taking a dark turn, and to me, that I think, well, why should I keep watching movies then? Because that means it'll never change. It'll just be the same Technicolor crap over and over again.
And this is exactly the point from WB's point of view. I totally agree with you. This is exactly the thing. So, Man of Steel, I think, is quite inspiring, but has, I think, a significant amount of darkness in it, and a significant amount of real
miserable film,
real introspection, and. Man of Steel 2, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. Dawn of Justice looks like it will deliver, and as you said earlier, Ted, about this looks like it's delivering on those moments in film that if they had chosen to do them, you would have done them this way. This is the way you wanted to see them. I mean, I think we walked out of Man of Steel saying the people of the DC universe are not going to be happy about what happened to Metropolis in this film. And it sort of reflected in real life. And what I like is that the filmmakers have said nothing about it. They have said, at no point have they said, yes, we heard you. They've kept quiet.
Yeah.
And I think this trailer actually speaks for itself in that you have all these talking heads at the beginning of it, all talking over each other. I think that's very, very clever.
Yeah.
They layered all that in. And they are all talking about how divisive the opinion of Superman is. And I think that stays true to how it would actually be if Superman actually existed.
Oh, yeah.
And I know some people do want to see a film in which they don't want to have those questions answered, right, or even asked.
Yeah.
That's fine. There are 5 Superman movies that you can watch where nobody brings that up.
Yeah.
And just in the same way that there are those 2 Tim Burton Batman movies where it's all gothic and kind of creepy and spooky and all the rest of it. There are 2 very sort of like very colourful and vibrant, very cartoony Joel Schumacher movies. There are 3 super serious Christopher Nolan movies, whereas, I said before, I sort of consider it distilled Batman. It's like neat Batman in a glass. There's no bullshit about those movies. It's all sort of very played straight down the narrow. And and if you want to go back far enough, of course, you've got the Adam West 66 camp sort of,
Here's a direct live action impersonation of the comics you've been reading.
Absolutely.
Cartoon. Yeah, it's really strange because Batman was never like that.
And
Really.
it's I
It was
would
never
say
camp.
In the 50s, it gets towards that. It gets
Well,
towards
the calculator's old costume, fair enough.
that. The calculator. Now there's a person that won't turn. Hey, that's on the screen. That's on the bingo of whether the calculator
the
turns
calculator would fit perfectly.
But yeah, so it's the thing with Man of Steel and then Batman vs Superman is they are addressing what happened if a god turned up, and when Feige says, well, the Marvel Universe will never go dark. Well, are we saying that after Infinity War and Thanos turns up and kills, you would hope, I'd say hope again, there's no bloodlust here, but in order to illustrate the stakes, you would hope that Thanos turns up and blasts some shit. And you're telling me that after that, it isn't going to go dark?
Yeah. I don't understand.
Even for a
why
little
you're
while, because
interested.
it's up and down. And with Warner Brothers, you've got the chaps that did 21 and 22 Jump Street and the Lego Movie, who are actively working on The Flash.
So excited
and I
for
hope
that.
they stay on that, because they're only in it at the moment as a sort of development contract. And they're only sort of playing around with it. But my God, that'd be a laugh a minute.
Yeah, that'd be phenomenal.
But it would also be spectacular. I mean, if you could get that, that's a dream team, I think. Like, was it Phil Lord and Chris Miller?
That's it.
I
always do them around the wrong way.
I'm wary of doing that myself. But I think that would be great. And then you have, reportedly what Warner Brothers wants to do with Wonder Woman is a sort of quite small character-focused movie that sort of sets up her place in the world and all the rest of it. The reason why Michelle McLaren left is because she wanted to do Braveheart with Wonder Woman, which on the face of it sounds good, but Warner Brothers said, no, we want to go small first, then we go big. You've got to get people interested in the character first, then you go for all the explosions.
It's going to be interesting seeing them, or seeing how Marvel reacts to Warner Brothers turning around and going, yeah, we've got a big female lead, so what? Because there's been a lot of hatred lately around the fact that...
Where's the Black Widow movie?
The fact there is no Black Widow movie, and when you sit and re-watch bits of Age of Ultron, or when you rethink rather bits of Age of Ultron, you realise that she is reduced to essentially a mummy/nanny role, to the point where she literally in one of the trailers she literally turns around. So it's not a spoiler thing. But she literally turns around. I'm always cleaning up after you guys.
And it's like. And people are still looking at her as some kind of female empowerment figure, and it's like she's exactly the same thing, like exactly the same character that sort of kick-ass heroines have been since the 60s. Like there's nothing impressive about her. There's nothing interesting about her. She's just the chick. That is her whole thing.
I disagree. There's nothing interesting about. I find her character in Winter Soldier is. I think that the hints at, mainly because Winter Soldier is the best Marvel movie, but is. I know it's to you it's Guardians, but I think I think in terms of it's certainly the most adult Marvel movie.
Yeah, I'd say that.
And I think they hint at a lot of things in Winter Soldier that are quite satisfying with the Black Widow character and the sort of how broken she is as a person. And
I think that all feels very tacked on. I find. I really do think that. I really think they're sort of like, oh, well, you've got a checkered past, and we'll tell everybody about it if you don't do what we say. It's like, is that the best you could do? Like, she's supposed to be Russian, but they don't give her any hint of Russian anything. Maybe there was brainwashing involved, maybe this, maybe that, maybe there's war crimes, but it's just all these little drip drops of shit I don't care about, to be honest.
Which would be enough to lead up to a standalone movie.
Yeah, you could
But
do
I really
fucking 5 years in the past or 10 years in the past, which is
ever
self-care
I'd love
career.
that. Yeah.
That'd be great, but they will never go
No,
there.
they won't, because
it's too dark.
Yeah, it's too dark, too miserable.
To have it, I mean, because they keep hinting. I mean, although we're being quite flippant about it, I think it's outright stated that. I mean, she used to be a political assassin. I mean, she used to just go around straight murdering people, and she's had her turn, and she's come back to the sort of the light side, and to show that decision, or I personally would prefer a movie where it's her and Hawkeye just doing some sort of solo shield mission, and it's just this sort of espionage-y type, two people on a mission. I'd like that, a bit of banter, and I think that'd be great. And you can do it for a relatively low amount of money, because it's not exactly, there aren't going to be helicarriers crashing into each other. You bloody hope not, because every Marvel movie seems to end with a thing from the sky falling. But it's the way that they have drawn her character is such that you could very easily go into a sort of quite low stakes but very interesting thriller movie with her, but they won't do it. Whereas they'll do Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel is coming, in
soon,
3 years. That'll be some big spacey adventure that'll almost certainly have a Guardians of the Galaxy cameo or something thereof, or some sort of link. That'll be great, but it's going to be a person going through space shooting things with a laser thing, like it.
Yeah.
I want to see and although that's cool, I also want to see the human person down on Earth who has to deal with the fact that she used to be an assassin, and she's got like massive guilt over that, I'd like to see that. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But ours is not. I mean, they make enough. They make enough money. Look, they make enough money. So
they can make that money for like 10 mil.
They're clearly doing. They're clearly doing it better than we are, because we're not making that money.
I find it interesting that she just is non-existent in the toy market. And Mark Ruffalo put a tweet up of his two kids just holding up figurine packs, just being like, "Why is there everybody plus Hawkeye plus the bad guy Ultron, but no Black Widow?"
She is, she's. There's also there's notable moments in that film where they have to hide the fact she's pregnant during filming.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they hide it behind it. I think that goes a little way to understanding why she had a reduced role.
Yeah.
Because there's depending on how you schedule it, like she's got to not be there for part of that filming, and she certainly can't be getting chucked around when she has a baby growing inside her. But yeah, so that's I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. I mean, I'm excited about Batman vs Superman, because it looks a bit dark and a bit grim, and that's sort of how I want to see Superman be the light at the end of the tunnel for the DC universe. That's his whole point. He's supposed to be. He's supposed to be the dude who brings them all out. I think this will be the thing with Justice League, is he's the dude who brings them all out of hiding.
Yeah.
And I hope that.
If you can be accepted, then we can too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Batman, who in this universe is older and very clearly emotionally completely crippled at this point.
Oh yeah.
And I think it'd be cool if he was the guy who sort of brought him out. And then Wonder Woman coming out of hiding and all the rest of it. And I think that's a cool idea, is Superman as the sort of beacon that they all go to.
Yeah.
As opposed to a dude with an eye patch saying, "Oi, you're a team now."
There is bigger stuff going on in my world. You are not top of my shit list, but I'm going to call you at some point, Tony Stark.
Yeah, I think it's easy for us to sit here and criticise that though, because it's nobody has ever done that before.
But how else do you get that lot together? You can't, because of the personalities and quirks. There is no way that you can pull all of that together without some sort of
wrangler,
authority figure.
It's cool though. I mean, it's I think the Marvel universe is really cool. I think there's as an.
I personally was on a very much, just tipping the other side of the fence, being like, yeah, okay, I do actually quite like it, and then Guardians hit, and that went exponentially up.
Yeah.
I still find difficulty placing that in
that same universe.
The same universe, yeah. Like, what was it at the end? Or was the end of Thor 2, wasn't it? Where some of the
they go to the collector.
They go to the collector, and that was
James Gunn directed it.
It kind of. I'm not surprised, but that kind of jarred me in a way because Guardians seems so separate from everything else.
Yes,
I know it isn't, but it because also it seems as though they're in the future the whole time because they've got cool technology.
This is true.
So to me, it's kind of a. It doesn't. I don't consider it part of the main canon.
I like, in terms of sort of outliers in the Marvel universe, I liked they did another Ant-Man trailer this month, and I like the look of that an awful lot. I think looks...
I think that's going to be like Guardians. I think it's going to be a good outlier. I think it's going to be fun. That's going to be better than everybody's expecting it to be, particularly.
Yes.
I'm not expecting it to be Superman, because it's not. I'm not expecting it to be Man of Steel. I'm not expecting it to be grandiose or particularly impressive, but I think that's going to be fun. I think it's going to be extremely fun.
I think it's going to be cheerful in the right places and dark and serious in the rest of it.
Absolutely.
Low stakes. High results.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Great. I love Paul Rudd. Great guy.
He's
really
fun. He's in Civil War. He's confirmed for Civil War.
Really?
Excellent.
Literally everybody but Thor in the Hulk is going to be in Civil War.
I love the fact as well that you don't even have to. You can just literally. Excuse the Frank, but you literally have him pop up anywhere.
He could
just be in the room.
He could just be sitting there listening to
you set that up very well.
No, I think they clearly know, watching that new trailer, they clearly know that it's an intensely silly premise.
Yeah.
But they've somehow made it quite badass.
Oh, the fight on the train is... I mean, the fight on the train set is just...
that looks phenomenal. We're going to have some really good laughs at that.
Yeah.
It's going to be great seeing everything in micro scale and then zooming it out to real world scale and then back and forth again. It's just sort of like the darkness and then the absolute hilarious stupidity of it all, macro size and then dropping it down to micro size again.
Yeah,
it's going to make for some really, really gorgeous film.
I agree. Yeah, I think as you were saying earlier, the during the fight scenes, the ability to have both of them changing size the whole time and you potentially there's just so much potential. I mean, that's what I'm going to, because otherwise I'll list all the potential scenarios they could be in, and that'll take most of the day. But I think it's got a great amount of potential, and it's got Peter Russo in it, and I'm really happy about that. So
yeah, Corey Stoll's a good actor.
He is actually.
I'm glad
he's a
to
very
get
good actor. Yeah, me too.
The thing that struck me is that the obvious the DC universe equivalent of Ant-Man is obviously the Atom.
Yeah.
And of course, I go immediately to we talk about all the potential about the use of the suit, and in DC Comics, there's a point at which somebody nicks the Atom's suit, and uses it to travel down a phone line, because you can get so small that you become like an electron essentially, and you use it to travel down a phone line to a person that they want to murder, go into their ear and stand on their brain.
Ooh. Okay.
And that actually that's perfect. That's a perfect snapshot of the difference between the Marvel universe.
Yeah, is that the fight with the Thomas the Tank Engine train set, or walking on a person's brain to give them? I mean, there's a difference there, isn't there? It's not to say that there's not light stuff in the DC universe.
No, of course, but it's got a much more adult capability.
What happens if you go full size inside someone's head?
Do
you get crushed, or do they get exploded?
No, you explode it.
That's a fair point, actually. You might get, I suppose, a combination of the two, but the rapid expansion would probably kill you, smashing them against the inside of their skull when you're only that big.
Yeah.
So, I think it's gonna, it's really disgusting. I think it's gonna have some really cheesy moments in it. I think the action is gonna be a bit odd in parts, Ant-Man, but overall I'm looking forward to that. Having not seen anything about it really and just heard other people's reactions to it, and seeing the trailer for the first time recently, I thought that was pretty good.
Will there be... we were saying that Superman's a replicant. Will there be any replicants in Ant-Man?
Only the ants.
Okay, the ants.
Yeah, the ants are all replicants. Yeah.
All right. Blade Runner 2. Blade Runner 2 is happening. There's nothing...
nothing we can do about it.
Nothing we can do to stop this. So you either... Just like Batman vs Superman, you either have to lean all the way into it and go, okay, right, it's happening, I'm going to be happy, or...
No, I'm out.
You're out.
I'm out until I get dragged kicking and screaming, or there is the Superman-esque beacon of hope, and I'm like, okay, maybe.
So it's from Denis Villeneuve, who's the director of Prisoners. So,
okay,
yeah, okay. So it's got
I'm not leaning all the way back.
Director. It's got a good director. Reportedly, Ryan Gosling is in talks to star.
I had heard. Doesn't make me feel any better.
No.
As good as Mr. Gosling may, or is rather.
Has the capability to be.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's put it that way, yes.
Yeah. Well reserved. So it's here's the first question, which I think I can guess what the answer will be. Do either of you want Blade Runner 2?
No.
Why?
There's no need for it.
Exactly. Totally unnecessary.
You don't need to go back there.
No. The first one is the first one's a small story. The first one is a well encapsulated small story. It takes place in a cool universe, and it's nice to think about what happens in that universe. But I don't want to see it because it will spoil the impact of the first one.
Yep.
What if it's just as good?
Then great.
Yeah.
Then great. Like that's never gonna, I'm never gonna object to that. But
what do you think is the chances that it will be just as good?
Pretty slim and none.
What do you think is the chance that this film will be as good as Blade Runner, which is perhaps one of the best films ever made?
Yeah, it's a pretty intimidating question.
As likely as as Ted suddenly developing a man crush for Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think he's fairly handsome.
Okay,
That's
as Ted enjoying...
Blade Runner 2 just went up my
Oh, he's a handsome guy.
What if Jeff Goldblum this time plays Rachel?
I want to see it day fucking one. Because, train wrecks are entertaining sometimes.
Oh, heavens.
Yeah,
I'm a huge Blade Runner fan.
See,
and I'm in two minds about this.
I've seen it once, and I can't remember which cut I've seen. But I know the story. I've seen it the once.
You don't know the story. You think Deckard's not a replicant.
I don't know. Mate.
This is for that. We need to harness that there. That can be an entire other podcast.
That can be like a 40-minute debate. Yeah, absolutely. That fallacy aside, I've seen it once. It wasn't ideal conditions in which I saw it. I actually dropped off at one point, only for about 5 seconds, but nonetheless, I wasn't fully invested in it, but I still enjoyed it immensely by the end.
Yeah.
But it's something that I need to revisit soon.
Yeah, I've got the final cut on Blu-ray, and
yeah,
I've got the others on DVD. So
I've got to go. I was going to say I think I've got an edition of it on DVD, but I've never watched it.
Yeah,
Region 1.
Yeah, we should do a Blade Runner night. But yeah, I think it's the potential for it is pretty astounding.
If they can encapsulate the magic and just the purity of the first one, then I'm all for it.
Thing.
It's whether they can put that recipe back together.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I should imagine that. How I would do it is something like Gosling is a Blade Runner, and he has to go and find Deckard, to get the answers to some long-running conspiracy or whatever. Why are you raising your eyebrows?
Because the only reason he'd be able to go and find Deckard...
Oh, as if he's not a replicant.
He's not a replicant because he's grown to be an old man. Spoilers for Blade Runner follow. And proceed.
If you haven't seen it by now, it came out in 1982. I think.
Yeah, I can't believe it's that old, considering how good it looks.
That's because it's timeless. That's the thing about Blade Runner. It's literally one of the best science fiction movies ever made. That's
why everything subsequently looked like Blade Runner.
And everything looked like it, and it has such an impact that you have to. To me, the only comparison here is something like, and the length of time is actually pretty apt as well, is something like The Hustler to The Colour of Money, where the sequel to that movie is 30 years later, and is, the first one is a Paul Newman movie about a pool hustler. The second one is about Tom Cruise as a young guy who then meets up with Paul Newman's character from the first one, and it's satisfyingly sort of fits together as two halves of the same thing, and they're both terrific. That's the one time it's been done.
I'm still sitting here wondering.
That's it.
I'm still sitting here wondering what a CG younger Harrison Ford face would look like, much akin to the CG younger Jeff Bridges face in Tron Legacy.
I wouldn't do it.
No.
I wouldn't do it.
No,
I think it works for Tron Legacy.
Yeah, but you cannot do it.
It didn't work for X-Men.
No, it did not.
Creepy Patrick Stewart.
That was odd.
Yeah, it was a little plasticky, wasn't it?
Oh, it's a little plasticky. It was
Yeah.
horrendous. It's like
Yeah.
someone melted a Ken doll.
And then stuck it to Patrick Stewart's forehead.
Yeah, and he wasn't happy about it at any point. Or maybe he was. You couldn't tell because
Yeah.
it paralysed his face.
Actually, you mentioned Tron Legacy. I don't know if you guys have been following this, but Tron 3 is now official.
Which I think is such a good thing.
Yeah, that's great. Considering Legacy was so good.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because it's one of those things, I've tried to watch Tron about 5 times and fell asleep every single time. Then saw Tron Legacy and
There's a
loved
real
it.
trend of you falling asleep during
It's because you
films
try
here.
and make me watch films in the dark at night, and I've had like 8 beers by that point, and we've had a barbecue, so I've been outside and I'm a bit sunstrokey. And you're like, let's watch this incredibly complex, slow movie with gentle ambient music behind it. The entire film is black with blue and yellow streaks throughout it. I am asleep already. Like, you don't get it. That's really soothing to me, all of those things. But I didn't accept the sunstroke. But yeah, no, I watched Tron Legacy and I fucking loved it when we saw it at the cinema.
Oh, yeah.
So I went back and watched Tron and fucking loved it. Like, it's a really great film.
Yeah.
So the fact that Legacy was so good and it does such a good job of being a Tron sequel,
Yeah.
not just something else that they've stuck Tron on the front of and occasionally winked at stuff like sequels are generally made when it's been that much time. I think Tron 3 could be fantastic.
Yeah.
I
Because Tron Legacy's
hope
wicked.
that all of the slight teasery stuff they did after Legacy with the Flynn Lives
Yeah,
t-shirt
yeah.
and the what was it, the DOS
unlabelled-
communication that they
Unlabelled
had.
Cillian Murphy cameo as
Yeah,
well.
well, Cillian Murphy then
Yeah.
having a conversation with equivalently the Master Control program
Yeah, with his dad. Yeah.
with his dad,
Yeah.
which I think if they keep that will round out that unexpected trilogy very nicely.
I don't think
Watch that soon.
I don't think David Warner is with us anymore. The chap who played his dad.
Yeah.
Let me look that up, but I don't think he is, unfortunately.
That excites me. What was the time difference between The Fugitive and US Marshals?
Oh, about 10 years.
No, is it that? I
Not-
thought it
not
was a
near-
bit. I thought
You
it
know,
was
the
longer than
Fugitive is getting. I tell you what, this wasn't even on the schedule for this, but I thought I'd bring this up. You know, the Fugitive is getting remade.
that. Yeah.
And do you know what?
I
This
think
is
it's
the
a bit
first. This is the first time where I knew that one day, because everybody jokes around about things being remade too quickly, and
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's not even
and
that
nothing
old. The movie.
and
Yeah.
nothing being sacred. But I knew that one day they'd hit something that was pretty big to me, and was a pretty big movie, full stop, and just felt like we'd done it yesterday. And I think The Fugitive is it. I mean, The Fugitive is from 1993. It's been 20 years.
I think you're forgetting 2006's Death at a Funeral, but whatever.
Oh Jesus, that got remade inside 12 months, didn't it?
within 2 years at least.
Yeah.
At the smallest amount of time.
But yeah, I just think. Sorry for leaving out the timeless Death of the Funeral. I'm sorry about that.
Thanks.
Um,
I appreciate your
How
respect.
far apart was Spider-Man?
That's not a remake. That's a reboot.
No, it's a reboot.
That's
isn't it?
sort of. I don't think it's. I don't think it's quite
Don't
the
you
same
put it
thing.
in the same category? Yeah.
I mean, The Fugitive is a remake of a 1960s television series. I think 30 years.
30 years and a
perhaps-
different format.
And a different format is
Yeah,
perhaps enough.
that is different. Speaking of thing with similar name that was an old TV series and is now a standalone movie, I'd love to see The Equalizer. I still haven't seen that.
That's good.
I would really like to see that.
Equalizer was good.
Yeah.
It is brutal.
Yeah, I know you had a good time with that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really, really look forward to that. And
Can I just-
I'm not a huge Denzel fan, and I'd still really love to see that.
Denzel. Man on Fire.
I've not seen it.
Oh,
Not seen it.
Ted.
No, seen Law Abiding Citizen, but
Look,
not Man on Fire.
look. Sort your life out, okay?
Oh, fuck off, mate.
Can I just say that?
Deckard's not a replicant.
Right, Deckard's a fucking replicant, and Man on Fire is a modern classic.
I'm sure it's very good.
David Warner is still with us. I'm very happy to announce. He looks imposing
Oh, doesn't
in
he?
old age.
Jesus.
Yeah.
He could
is
be. He's Sark.
From the first one, he's the
yeah,
MCP.
of course.
He's
and
he's Sark, the MCP, and he's Mr. Dillinger in the real world.
Oh,
He's the
yeah.
head of.
Dillinger douchebags.
No, I
so-
tell you what.
NCOM.
NCOM. There we go.
He's also notable for being Chancellor Gorkon from Star Trek 6: The Undiscovered Country. He's the chap who gets assassinated. In tie-in media, just as a little aside, in tie-in media, it's revealed that Section 31 is behind that.
Okay.
I quite enjoyed finding that.
In the future.
Yeah, I found that out the other day. So yeah, I love Tron Legacy. I mean, I love Tron. Full stop.
Yeah.
And I saw Tron. Talking about, you were saying earlier, Ted, about seeing the Lost World at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I saw Tron when I was like 6. And to me, at that point, because you go back now, the effects are ropey as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're like the first use of that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I saw it when I was 6, and I was blown away. I remember just being absolutely overwhelmed by it and how cool it looked and all of the video games and it being inside Space Paranoids and all that. I thought it was absolutely terrific. And yeah, I'm really glad that they kept. I have to say, I felt that same sense of awe when I watched Tron Legacy. And Tron Legacy is not a particularly popular movie, but it made
slightly more popular than the first one.
It made enough money to It made enough money to justify number 3. And I'm hoping that we get some exploration of what it means now that they've brought a computer program into the real world.
Yeah, she ostensibly has DNA structure, so I think that is the only reason they're going to be able to say, yes, it's fine, we can build a human out of that.
I feel like that was a bit of a hand wave, but at the same time, we'll find out, won't we?
She is an ISO.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just I'm gonna hold fire on speculating. Because I just don't know what they'll do. No. I think that's really cool. It's they have some really cool things they could play around with though with Tron 3. I think there was some very, very cool things they could play around with. One can but hope. Plus, if it means we get, I don't know what's happening with the soundtrack, but my God, I hope we get Daft Punk back for that.
Oh yes, that soundtrack was amazing.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah,
they fit into that universe very well.
They did,
as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was nice. I usually hate real world person cameos, but I'll
like
make the
Diane
exception.
Vert.
That's different. That film was about them.
That film is just a 110-minute advert for Diane.
Yeah, it's a 110-minute music video
Yeah.
for an entire album of songs, because basically all of those songs were from the same album. But yeah, that's different. That film is a 5 out of 5 masterpiece. So 16 out of 16.
That's the hype. That's the hype level. That's not the. That's not
Yeah,
the.
that's
maintaining rating.
I love the 16 point.
Yeah, I was like, what?
16
I was
point
thinking
scale.
about it. I was like, yeah, it's 16 points. That's what I've decided this week it's going to be.
I'm just, I hate Chappie.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You're wrong about movies if you hate Chappie.
It
was a rip-roaring thrill ride, and all those other 90s movie poster quotes. It was fantastic. You're wrong.
Okay.
Your opinion is wrong, and you should leave my house. I mean, the PGK studios.
Well, that's it for.
After 2
Join us
episodes.
next week for the PG podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That makes you K.
that's okay. He's the best Men in Black.
He is the best man in black.
Yeah.
It's alright though. I get to be a G.
No, okay. So I'm just P.
You're just P.
That's pretty low. That's the worst one of the 3. We just need to rename this podcast.
It could be the PG Tips podcast.
I think with some tea company would take issue to that. What are you looking up, Davey?
I was trying to find to show you guys, because we hadn't talked about this before and I didn't want to go into it with no prep. I was trying to find some of the set photos that have come out from Suicide Squad.
I have seen.
Have you seen it?
No, I've seen the whole cast photo minus the Joker, curiously enough, but...
Well, he's not part of the squad.
Oh, but yeah, actually...
You think Amanda Waller would put the Joker on the Suicide Squad?
Well, the Suicide Squad's a pretty bad idea anyway, if I'm honest. But if Amanda Waller maybe she was drunk that morning or something, she was just like, you know what, fuck it. It was my daughter's 21st. It's been so good. I tell you what, let's get all these guys out of cells, give them all their old weapons back, and put them all together at once. But whatever, that film's going to be fun, I'm sure. Still with Will Smith as Deadshot or whatever. They haven't responded to any of my letters about recasting him in the last I even offered wanted a full setup, a full costume photo of myself, but they're not taking the bait.
I hate to break this to you, Ted, but you have not anchored any $100 million plus grossing movies.
No, not yet. Anyway,
yeah.
But when I do, I will demand myself to be digitally re-added to that film in place of Will Smith. Keep the voice if you want, whatever.
Well, so basically, it'd just be your. It'd be then we talk about reverse David Prowse. So it's the original.
Yeah,
voice.
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I will not have a rebel or a traitor on my spaceship, nor your father. God, imagine if Star Wars had been that. Do you think it'd be as popular?
Find that. I mean, that audio file must exist.
You can
somewhere.
find it. You can find it in documentaries.
No, but I'm saying the full one. I would
the full track.
The full track.
Oh yeah, man, I would watch Star Wars.
There must be an edit that they have of all three of them that has Prowse's voice.
I really hope so.
Which would be, which must be buried deep in the Skywalker ranch somewhere.
Oh, I would pay.
It's probably in a vault under Lucas' dead.
Yeah. No, I would absolutely. I would buy that on Blu-ray as a trilogy of the original voice edits. Of that. That's the only time I would buy Star Wars. Like, that's fantastic.
The new chap at work, his claim to fame is that his uncle is Kenny Baker.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like Kenny Baker. He's a nice chap.
And I asked him. I said, does
he have a suit?
No disrespect to your uncle. No. I said, no disrespect to your uncle, but I heard that your uncle was a nice chap and that Anthony Daniels, who played C-3PO, was actually a bit of a dick. I said, can you confirm? He said, yes, I can confirm.
Oh, yeah, fascinating.
Yes. They apparently hate each other.
Really?
Yes. And Anthony Daniels was incredibly dismissive to Kenny Baker at a party once, basically went, go away, can't you see I'm trying to speak to people here? And you don't fuck with R2-D2 that way.
No, you don't. R2-D2 will either spit gunk on you, electrify you, or set you on fire with his rocket boosters.
Yeah. It's hey, look.
Whistle dismissively.
He's versatile.
Versatile killing machine, R2-D2. That's what I said about him.
That's what I want to see. I want to see basically the Star Wars equivalent of Arya's journey in Game of Thrones, except with R2-D2.
The faceless robot.
He studies under Boba Fett.
I've just got this great image of slave whatever it is now. Let's slave 1
Slave
just
6.5,
landing. Slave 6.5 that just lands, or it just lands, and they're like, oh crap, it's Boba Fett, and out comes R2-D2 in like a Boba Fett,
like
paint job.
He's got the cape.
Just getting caught under one of his wheels.
Yeah.
Also, one eye edge.
Fund it.
I would absolutely, if they did that as a standalone, like 4K YouTube series, I would absolutely watch that.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know why more people haven't done web series.
Because you don't make nearly as much money off them.
I mean, yeah.
They don't cost as much money, but like, because nobody watches them.
If you can get them down for enough money. I mean, I suppose this is the model, to me, right? To me, this is the model. What Marvel have done with Netflix, with what they're going to do. I mean, have you guys even watched a bit of Daredevil yet?
No pilot.
All right. What did you think?
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like Owen Slater being in it. That was cool. Nobody else here watches Boardwalk Empire.
blank stares.
You'll notice his accent slips in the pilot quite frequently to a Northern Irish accent because he plays a character in. He's actually from Northern Ireland and he plays a character in Boardwalk Empire called Owen Slater.
Who does he play in
Daredevil.
Oh, terrific! Okay, right, okay, yeah.
Sorry, I should have reiterated that in the first place. Yeah, Daredevil.
I was because I know who Rosario Dawson is, so it's not her.
Yeah. No, I like to see Jessica getting work very much.
Yes.
Very, very, very happy to see Deborah Moore and stuff.
Yeah.
Even though they shoot her in very unflattering light occasionally, and you can see her big old ginger moustache quite a lot in one scene. It's really creeping off her face.
Let me say. Stop zooming on the TV.
But it's so funny sometimes. No, absolutely. You can see that on that TV, but don't care.
There's a point.
Doesn't change my opinion of it.
There's a point. Yeah, you're goddamn right. There's a point about 5 or 6 episodes in. I won't go into too much detail, but suffice to say, there are some bad people doing.
Do they get punched?
No, actually.
Oh.
There are some bad people doing some bad things with regards to. Screwing over residents of a tower block, these residents live in squalor, and they're like pumping the rent up, but they're not fixing anything, and all the rest of it. And there's a sort of hour of television where they're sort of dealing with this, and at the same time, there's the Kingpin wants to gentrify the area, and he wants to come in and build a load of high rises and all the rest of it, right? And there's an hour there where if you squint and you pretend that Daredevil is Green Arrow, it's the best hour of Green Arrow ever made, and it's. My point, obviously, harping on and on and on about how Arrow is an unforgivable travesty with the Green Arrow canon, is that they made a fucking hour of Daredevil that was better at being Green Arrow than anything that Arrow shits out. And yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Okay, that is fine.
I just wanted to say that, but I think that it sort of rounding back to Netflix. I think Netflix is giving people the ability to do things on the cheap, and not necessarily on the cheap, but cheaper than putting out a Daredevil movie, for example. But something that can be, pretty unexpectedly popular. I think nobody was expecting Daredevil to be as good as it is.
I suddenly realised also their talk of the Marvel Universe never taking a dark turn.
But Daredevil's
Daredevil is pretty violent.
Yeah.
It is more violent than anything that Marvel have ever made. And I've only seen the pilot, and I hear there's far better stuff to come.
Yes.
Far more brutality to come.
There's also a bit of swearing. A bit of there's a bit of proper swearing in there as well.
My only problem with it is his best mate.
You don't like Foggy?
No, he's infuriating. He's the fat weirdo character that is in literally everything to make people laugh now. I can't stand him.
He's so funny. I love him.
So irritating. And he's fat and he's got big hair and he probably will grow a weird beard at one point and talk about weed because that is literally every supported... Like, instead of having a funny black friend now in American sitcoms, for like the last 5 years, you have a weird possible drug dealer in like 60% of things in a drug dealer. You have a weird fat guy with a beard who has questionable personal hygiene.
You know what? I didn't think about that until now, but you are 150% right.
That was pointed out to us by a mutual friend of ours. Pointed out to me, rather, by a mutual friend of ours who is American. And he'd noticed in a bunch of stuff that's exactly like I started watching Broad City recently.
What's that about?
It's about two Jewish girls who live in New York City and don't have any money and are kind of scummy. But it's an odd thing. I'm watching it because Hannibal Buress is a main supporting character, but he's only ever in it for 5 minutes an episode. But it's legitimately quite funny. And there is a supporting character in that who's a fat weird guy with questionable
personal hygiene.
Yeah, personal hygiene. Who like takes drugs and is a layabout. Like it's just a new thing in comedy. So
I heard Workaholics was good on Comedy Central, and I saw it advertised after Kroll Show a couple of times. So I tuned into the pilot, and I realised that all three of the main characters were that dude.
Yeah.
And I went, "No, this isn't for me."
Yeah, I've seen that advertised as well, and it just looks dull.
Yeah, it's. I get why. I was just saying, I can't get over the fact that the three main characters are utterly odious.
Just total scumbags. Yeah. No, I don't get the appeal of watching scumbags be scumbags.
I hear that's the appeal of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, sort of seeing them come up.
Man, I've seen like 3-4 episodes of that, and I just feel uncomfortable and awkward all the time. Like it's all about it's about douchebags who can't. It's like
how would you rate it on a scale of 0 to Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Oh, it's up there with Curb in terms of awkward discomfort that I don't get nor want any part of.
Well, I might really enjoy it then.
You probably will, to be honest. At least the first season, at least before they bring in Danny DeVito. But it's about people. There's always a character in a sitcom, especially let's say something like Barney. When Barney was a dickhead for like a couple of seasons before,
I was talking about the Purple Dinosaur. And I was like,
whoa! He's always been a charming,
Barney was just a dick for 3
dinosaur.
seasons. No, there's this thing where he's just doing coke off the kids' heads, and like, but nobody ever addressed it. Yeah, he's got a big old nose as well. Thank you. There's always these moments where someone does something like Barney before they addressed it and made him quite likeable. He was a complete dick, and he did, and like Sheldon. Like there's always there's one character like Sheldon who does things that are massively unpleasant, unfriendly, things that would get that friendship ended.
Yes.
Things that are completely socially inappropriate.
Yes.
And no consequence is there because there's time for the canned laughter and then no one reacts to it.
Yes.
Because that's funny, so they'll keep doing that. It's funny to some people, so they'll do that to the majority of people. They'll do that every week.
Yep.
and that person is completely unrealistic and would not succeed in life. And It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is a show about 5 of those people who are completely unpleasant to each other. They do completely inappropriate things. They are, completely uncomfortable to watch, and I don't like that, so I won't watch it. Like, it's that thing, I gave it a try. Like a couple of things lately, I gave it a try when I wasn't expecting to, and it's just unwatchable for me. I just cringe into a tiny, tiny subatomic ball.
Then land on somebody's brain.
Yeah, absolutely. And just walk up and down for a while. That'll show her. I can't. It's not my style of comedy anyway. Yeah. And I like the uncomfortable sometimes, but only in moderation. The other thing, actually, going back to fucking 6 hours ago when you asked that question, the other thing that I've been watching a lot of lately, I'm consuming a lot of, is Brickleberry, which is
that?
It's a Comedy Central animated series. We're into the 2nd season now, so they've recast one of the main voices and thus recharacterized her. But now it's Natasha Leggero, and I love Natasha Leggero. So
hey,
Natasha
Leggero getting work.
Yeah, animated work 3 years ago on Comedy Central. But it's an animated series about rangers in Brickleberry National Park. Daniel Tosh is a talking baby bear.
Tell me more about this. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, who's a complete scumbag. Like, the head ranger is like a shouting drill sergeant-y dickhead who it's revealed was a porn star at one point. It's a fantastic cast of characters. There's a black character in it played by Jerry Minor, who you would know if you saw, who's called Denzel. Who is a walking black stereotype, but embraces it completely and loves old white women, like women in their 90s and 100s. Like, it's brilliant. It's completely ridiculous.
How does it tie into Firewatch?
You know what? If it did, I would play that even more. I would play that twice. Like, I'd buy it twice, because that would be hilarious. But it's really good. I recommend it wholeheartedly. It's completely bananas, totally off the wall, completely shameless, incredibly offensive. It's superb. So consume that at your peril, but do, because it's so good.
That sounds good.
It's really odd. It had like a 9-episode first season somehow, and now we're into season 2.
Comedy Central do whatever they like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Comedy at Broad Street is a Broad City Story is a Comedy Central show as well.
Broad Street is the prequel.
Yeah. But they do whatever they want. That's why it's something I really like. Now I've got Now TV, I really appreciate Comedy Central, and a lot of the stuff that I watch is Comedy Central, because they just do whatever they want. There's swearing, there's nudity, there's completely disgusting, racist and homophobic stuff used as comedy.
Tell me more about this nudity.
It's not always great, but like it's always there. But yeah, Comedy Central, I've got a total respect for now that I realise some of the things that they do. It's very good.
Here's the thing. Just because you were talking about TV, and it sort of jogged something in my mind about Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead. Now, in the month and a bit that we've been away, Silent Hills has been cancelled.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Due to the fact there's been some sort of hoo-ha at Konami between them and Hideo Kojima, who is ostensibly a contractor who works for Konami as part of Kojima Productions.
Yeah, I do.
This is all sort of quite complicated, but
he was a really weird choice to attach to that anyway. Like, that's not what he's supposed to do.
But him and Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus, I mean, let's face it, Ted, it has to be better than the last couple of Silent Hills.
The last 10 years of Silent Hill. Yeah, it's got to be better.
Did you ever get a chance to play the PT, the playable teaser, or did
No,
you just watch?
I watched a whole playthrough of it in HD with no commentary,
perfect.
I searched for a long time to do that, and it fucking scared the shit out of me. It had some of the right aesthetics, but that's about it. Like, it wasn't a Silent Hill game. They could have gone forth and made a different, like with Silent Hill 4 The Room, they could have gone forth and made a different horror franchise, but whatever, doesn't matter. It's not going to happen anyway. I'm unsurprised by it being cancelled, but it's kind of a shame.
Oh yeah, I think it's a shame.
It's kind of a shame. Silent Hill is a terrible title, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, aliens.
Yeah, that's different, because that totally worked. Because in the first one, there's an alien. In the second one, there's aliens.
What
about the third one?
Well, what about there being...
Hold on.
Well, what about there being...
more than one Silent Hill. That's undoubtedly what it's going to do. And transdimensional shit. No, you clearly have never played any of the Silent Hill games.
Just high-fiving a million angels over here.
David's currently also doing some kind of brain exploding thing. But no, that's like the transdimensional shit like that kind of is what it's about, and it kind of isn't.
Is Sean Bean in one of them?
I hope so.
Yeah.
In which
Is he
case,
dead yet?
I will play it. No, that's about the only thing that Sean Bean doesn't die in.
Actually, does he die in the second? No, he doesn't even die
No,
in the second one.
No, he doesn't die in Silent Hill. He survived Silent Hill, thus making him the ultimate badass. Because you don't survive Silent Hill.
He only gets killed and everything else so that he can survive the Silent Hill.
Exactly. But
I bought the Sharp box set over Christmas.
Why?
I'm getting in touch
You're
with
an
my
old man.
I'm getting in touch with my sort of 45
You
plus
need
year
to
olds.
talk to my dad. He watches Sharp a lot.
That's because he's a dad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a dad yet, but not that I know of.
No, but I mean, in your personality and taste, occasionally you slip into dad very well.
Yeah, I did just buy a new pair of... Lots of people wear brown shoes, Ted.
Yeah, with a check shirt and comfortable jeans.
All right.
Not wearing jeans today.
Well,
can't take me
chinos
on
weather, Ted.
It is chinos weather, absolutely. It now takes me more than one try to get out of a chair sometimes, and I go, when I sit down, so I'm right there with you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you just haven't embraced the Sharp yet.
No, I'm never going to... I watched Sharp when I was a kid.
Do you know what happened to me the other day? Is I was at home, alone, the TV was on, I sat down, BBC Two was on, I didn't make a choice about this.
Okay.
Right? But I'm fully prepared to say that I sat there and watched The Young Victoria with Emily Blunt. Now, Emily Blunt being delicious notwithstanding, The Young Victoria was fucking fantastic.
Well, that's fine.
But I am now 45. I have skipped my 30s entirely.
Yeah, you also skipped your 20s and most of your teens. You got to 14, you were just like, I might settle into a responsible role in this group. No, it's fine.
Somebody's got to be responsible around here.
Yeah, absolutely.
You bunch of animals.
That's fine. Like, we're getting to that point, aren't we? The time people have invited me out to the pub at work, and I've been like, nah, I'm just going to go and have an early night. And I meant it. It's not just because I don't want to hang out with half of them.
Oh, you're that guy. Oh,
yeah, no, exactly.
What a jerk.
No, but if I don't go, nobody else goes, so I'm still the cool guy. No, I don't know, I'm comfortable where I am in life at the moment.
Yep.
I like being that guy. I'm going to sit around and watch some TV, maybe even watching bad TV because it's on. I watched a bit of Britain's Got Talent the other day.
Oh, heavens, Ted.
We're still in the exciting phase where terrible people come on and get ridiculed, and that's what I've been enjoying. Is the really, really average people, and they always give them a massive build-up first, so that you think they're going to be stars, and then they're complete shit,
terrible.
And then immediately the next people are stars. And I said to Tony at the time, if you ever get paired with someone and they just film you talking, you must get so paranoid now because they do it every year. Because you're like, oh god, am I the shit one? Am I the shit one? And are you the success story? Oh god, oh god, oh god. And I've seen some good stuff in that, but that's actually there is the thing. There's the counterpoint to my rule about not liking awkwardness is that real human misery I enjoy immensely. Like watching 9-year-olds just get crushed by Alicia Dixon. It's just like, you're shit. You shouldn't have come in, and who taught you to walk? You know, that kind of thing. And you're like, oh, amazing.
Oh my god!
But that kind of thing, yeah, I take a sadistic pleasure in people getting completely deconstructed on television, especially when it's their real hopes and dreams, like no other chance at happiness. That really tickles me. But other than that, pretty rational person.
Ted, I learned something about you.
Yeah, you must have done.
Jesus.
What were we actually talking about?
Oh, we were talking about Silent Hills getting cancelled.
Oh yeah, yeah, whatever.
It's over that. He's got his new vice.
Is Silent Hills getting cancelled the absolute death knell for survival horror for the next 5-10 years?
Yeah, probably. It barely exists
There's
anyway.
Not that Alan Wake is survival horror, but at least it's in the fucking ballpark.
Yeah.
No Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
Evil Within was shite.
Yeah, fuck me.
Actually, I suppose Alien Isolation counts.
Alien Isolation was fantastic.
So that's one.
Yep.
But then you look at the former mainstays, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, which is just now action apocalypse.
Yep.
And thingy, of course. What's the other one that got Dead Space?
I was just about to say,
went down the toilet.
Dead Space.
Just went down the toilet. Yeah.
Yes. That game that had 2 in its series.
Yeah.
Didn't have a
Such
third.
a shame that third one never got made.
Yep. Just like
To be
that.
fair-
Just like that Mass Effect double series.
Necromorph
Yeah.
moons.
To be fair, the end of Dead Space 2
Could have been left.
makes a terrific ending anyway. Yeah, but it made so much money that they wanted to make it more. But the ending of Dead Space 2 is so good. I mean, that section where you think you're going to die, and the credits start coming up, and then you realise you can move, and stuff. I mean, that's terrific. That's great stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
Like fighting your way to the thing that gives you the hallucinations, and that's
Marker.
Christ, yeah, that's sprint. That
No, but
last
is there a
sprint towards
person
the
there as
marker.
well? Oh no, Nicole appears.
It's crazy Ghost Nicole.
Yeah.
Spoiler. Fuck me! What a game!
Yeah.
What a game!
I have a girl at work who's just joined called Nicole, and I have to be careful around her because
In case she opens her mouth real wide and light starts pouring out.
and then I take
Tongue
a
gun near
harpoon
her.
gun and put it in my mouth.
Yeah, blow her in fucking. Oh Christ,
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, God, that game was so upsetting.
It was such a good game.
It was, but it's like the three of us would sit together in the same room, talking each other through it in daylight and still shit ourselves.
Yeah.
Like on a Saturday
That's
afternoon in
'cause we're
July.
wimps.
Right, I guess so. But I always thought you watch a horror film on your own, or play a horror game on your own, petrifying. You play it with, or watch it with another person, it totally dispels the tension.
Yes.
Even if you're sitting in silence,
Yeah.
there's something about it. You got the comfort of another human being next to you. But it just didn't
He's not
work.
trying to
for
eat your
Dead Space.
face.
Yeah, exactly. It's so uncomfortable the whole time.
It's I thought it was terrific. I think that those two Dead Space games are absolutely terrific, and
Yeah.
two is louder and brasher than one,
Yeah.
Faster paced as well.
faster paced. It's Aliens to Alien, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is,
absolutely.
It's-
It is.
But then and then 3 is Alien 3.
Yes.
Yeah, 3 is Alien Resurrection, yeah. I don't know, Alien 3 is not that bad. It's not the worst one of a lot of them.
No, it's not. No, AVP2 Requiem is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That doesn't count though, because that one didn't happen. Well, it did happen, but it's not connected.
What did you, Nick? You were mentioning before the podcast started about Arkham Knight. Now, by the time we do another podcast, oh no, it won't be out yet. We'll do one more podcast, which will be the May review, and then by the time we actually get to the June review, it will have been out. For a week. What are you?
Two.
Yeah, a week or two. What are your thoughts and feelings on Arkham?
Knight. I'm excited for it, but at the same time, I've kind of been withdrawn a little bit, as if although it looks like it's going to be a great game, I'm still not invested. So, I mean, initially when I saw some of the gameplay for it, I was like, yeah, I'm totally going to get that. And now that there's been a little bit more, and there have been some great stuff in there that I've looked and thought, actually, that looks really cool. And the extended gameplay that we've got from it, I'm back in non-fussed mode.
Yeah,
it's
me
really
too.
bizarre.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like a 3 out of 16. Like I'm not. I'm going to keep using that, by the way.
You're in that 3.
Remind me to keep using it. Yeah, I'm not hyped.
I'm in the mid ground. I'm like 5-6 out of 10. But I'm there, and I will probably get it at some point. But I'm not a day oneer at the moment.
No, absolutely.
Oh, I mean,
Also,
I absolutely am because
games are way too expensive to be day one nowadays, and they depreciate so quickly that it breaks my heart.
I'm absolutely. I wouldn't say I'm. I wouldn't say that I'm absolutely like, sort of foaming at the mouth for it.
How many out of 16?
I do not operate on a 16-point scale.
You don't operate on a 5, you don't operate on a 10,
Yeah.
you won't give it a letter grade,
Yeah, I don't operate
you
on
won't
a
do it on
scale.
the 10 16-point previous scale.
He
But-
goes on thumbs. One or two thumbs.
Six thumbs.
Purely a thumb ratio. No, I think it has everything in place to be absolutely spectacular. And I think just as when you go back and you watch the trailers for Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, they hold 75% of the plot back
Yes.
from the trailers. And I hope, and I should imagine, they will do that again. I mean, I'm so hyped for John Noble as Scarecrow.
Yeah, I guess. It's still weird.
I think
like
that's
it.
terrific.
I'm going to say something fairly hypocritical here as a man who, as half of a couple, just pre-ordered Black Ops 3. About which I'm very excited. But I am not excited by Arkham Knight because I've already played this game 3 times. And even with the Batmobile and the bigger area and the new gadgets and stuff, I'm not excited for another one. Arkham Asylum was great, Arkham City was great, Arkham Origins wasn't so good, but it was still okay.
Not same guys though. So
No, absolutely. But as the Arkham series, I've already done it a couple of times, and I'm not really fussed about doing it again. I think that's the crux of it, and I'm only realising that now. Is that formula wise, it's going to be the same, very similar, and that's why I'm not so excited. It's quite an individual thing.
I think that's an interesting way of looking at it. I think it's totally valid as well. I come at it from a story and character point of view. I want to see the end of it, because they are treating this and they are allowed by Warner Brothers, again, just as Christopher Nolan was. They are being allowed to end it. So this is it. And the other, the WB Montreal, who are basically going to be given the reins after this, will presumably do another young Batman story. They will do Arkham Origins 2, which, one can only hope would be something like The Long Halloween. That would be really cool.
Oh, yeah. If they keep it nice and focused, then it could be pretty cool.
Oh, I'd love that, yeah. But this is being allowed to be the end of the Arkham story. Nick, you were mentioning earlier about the gameplay trailer that shows that you've got different allies coming in. So you've got the whole Bat family, though. I mean, you've got Batman, you've got Tim Drake, Robin, you've got Dick Grayson, Nightwing, you've got Catwoman, and I forget whether there's another one, but there's a bunch of people sort of moving around. You can flick between them during the combat sequences and stuff, which to me is a nice little added wrinkle. It's not going to revolutionise it, as you said. It's absolutely not going to revolutionise it. But to me, it's good enough. And I'm more interested in finding out what happens to Batman and what is the end of his story in this, than really like them shaking it up. Whatever they do next, I'd be very excited about. Rocksteady, I'd be very, very excited about whatever they do.
Yeah, I'd like to see what they do next.
Yeah,
what did they do before?
They have one game, which is Urban Chaos Riot Control.
Oh yeah, of course.
Which I think that's a really neat idea. I think that was
pretty
cool. I never played it the whole way through, but it's terrific.
I played it a couple of times.
But to go from that to Arkham Asylum was
big jump.
Yeah, quite a jump.
So yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. But I'd like to see, what they're going to do with, they've got Red Hood in there. I'd like to see what they're going to do with Red Hood. Is it going to be Jason Todd? That'd be pretty cool. There's a bunch of things. There's a bunch of villains that you can. I mean, Batman has comics best rogues gallery by a country mile, and there's a bunch of people you can pull out from places to see. I'd like to see what Harley's like without the Joker. I think that'd be interesting. That's actually one of the things that really excites me about Suicide Squad is to see our first ever live action Harley Quinn, which they could not have chosen a better actress for it.
Margot
Robbie from The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, right, yeah. That's cool.
So, and she looks fantastic.
No, they've kept the costume very, very comic true.
Yeah. So, obviously, in the new comic, she's wearing a sort of totally different thing to what she. If the image in your mind is from like Batman the Animated Series, she's not wearing that anymore in the New 52. But they've taken that sort of imagery and put the New 52 imagery on screen. And because it's a David Ayer joint, she's covered in tattoos, just like the Joker. But
she's very comic-y.
Yeah, she's very. Margot Robbie looks good. She looks good in the role. I think she'll be cool. I just think the whole cast, the production design, everything. It just looks. It looks good.
It has potential.
You're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
There's a real, and it's a very, very, very clever way of rapidly, blowing a balloon in terms of the
DC bad guys.
Yeah. So because what you're doing is because there's absolutely no two ways about it. Right, Affleck is in the film as Batman. Right, he's been spotted on.
Sure, we can't change it.
Ted's letter writing campaign on that also failed.
Yeah. Well.
Affleck is in the film as Batman. The Joker is in the film. People will go and see this.
Yeah.
You've got two of the most iconic comic characters ever made, but it gives you the opportunity to introduce people like the Enchantress and Captain Boomerang. Captain Boomerang's going to be in a film.
Yeah, that's kind of nice.
I'm so happy about that. I just think it's as you said with the villains to be able. I mean, you've got a couple of Batman villains. You've got a Flash villain. You've got a sort of Shadow Pact, Zatanna, Constantine villain. You've got a bunch of people in there. There's a bunch of people that you can You can the set photos. I normally avoid set photos, but these appear to be non-plot spoilery. The set photos are they take place in Midway City, which God bless them if we get Hawkman or Hawkgirl.
Yeah.
Oh my
Man.
God, if we get Hawkman or Hawkgirl.
He was about the only character that they got right in Smallville.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed him on Smallville. That was
so
quite
good.
fun.
I love Hawkman. That was awesome.
They've just actually there's the third show in the Arrow Flash series now on the CW, which is Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I saw a trailer, a poster for that or something.
Yeah, and in that they've got Hawkgirl. But again, it's one of these things whereby it's a person called Hawkgirl who will act nothing like Hawkgirl.
No,
but again, it's sort of like not to harp too much on about how the people in charge of those shows know absolutely nothing, but it's like you introduce Rip Hunter and a time travel adventure, but Rip Hunter's time travel adventures are supposed to change everything. I mean, they're supposed to be universe shattering, and they introduce you know. I mean, it's like, oh, we've got to take down. They're trying to take down Vandal Savage.
Okay.
But you could bet that it will have absolutely no impact on Arrow season 4 or Flash season 2. And that's the main problem. And again, this is sort of coming full circle to the big release of this month, Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron's biggest sin is that it feels like it doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's kind of. I remember you saying about the end of Cap 2 and S.H.I.E.L.D. being taken down and no longer existing in any particular form, and that not actually somehow being mentioned in any further Marvel stuff.
Literally, nobody opens their mouth to say it in Age of Ultron. Nobody says it. And nobody says how different it's going to be.
How has it affected Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I wonder?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actually went through quite profound changes.
Oh, okay.
They have had tie-in episodes to each of the sort of big events. So they have an Age of Ultron tie-in episode, and they had an episode where they went and cleaned up London after Thor 2. They've actually had 2 episodes where Jamie Alexander has popped in as Sif and been on the hunt for stuff. And they've had Sam Jackson turn up once or twice.
Oh, yeah?
And he turns up in the pilot. I forget whether he turns up again, but I do not watch it on the regular.
No,
But their Winter Soldier tie-in is really good because they reveal the fact that one of the main cast has been a Hydra agent all along, which is it's pretty cool. Yeah. And then you've got on the other side of it, you've got the fact that there is a new Shield being created after Winter Soldier. By Edward James Olmos and Adrian Palicki as Mockingbird. About to call him Mockingjay then. That's somebody different. But that's the. I tell you what, actually, pausing just for a second. It is May, right? Where the fuck is the Mockingjay Part 2 trailer?
Oh, yeah.
They are ducking the marketing on this. I think they're going to choose a very quiet time to bring the marketing back up. But they bring it up soon, or everybody be watching summer movies and not paying attention to the fact that they need to. I would go into marketing overdrive on this one. I think
they've got enough weight behind it now that they don't necessarily need to go into overdrive, but they can just slip something in, get people talking about it, then go massive.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, what's the biggest movie this summer? Perhaps Mission Impossible
5.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about what else would be big. I mean, I would have slapped the trailer in front of Age of Ultron. I mean, that's long enough out that you could put even a teaser. There was a teaser this time last year for Mockingjay Part 1.
Yeah, there was.
I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I don't know whether they're sort of recalibrating their marketing campaign or maybe they've had to do reshoots or whatever. But yeah, I don't know quite what they're doing.
Yeah.
Francis Lawrence, by the way, the director of Catching Fire and Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2, would have been my choice for Wonder Woman.
Oh, that's a fine choice.
But because of the sort of politics around it, with them saying we have to have a female director, I think they've sort of all female shortlists for it. They wanted to sort of make a statement because it's Wonder Woman. It's the definitive female superhero, so they wanted to have a female voice behind it.
I have plenty to say about that.
I bet you do. But
it's not a podcast.
I personally would have chosen the best person for the job. I think Francis Lawrence has considering Katniss Everdeen is a woman, and is basically a superhero. I think that Francis Lawrence would have probably been a very good choice for it. Or indeed, the director of the first one, whose name is now escaping me, Gary Ross. Gary Ross, I think, would have done a very good. You could have replicated the entire dynamic of the Hunger Games franchise in that you bring Gary Ross in to do the first character-focused one, and then when shit gets real and the action needs to start, you bring Francis Lawrence in for 2 and 3. I think that could have been quite fun. But yeah, that's my 2 penneth. I think they'll still do a good job. The woman they've got now, Patty Jenkins, she actually left. She was hired as Marvel's first female director for Thor 2. She left when it became apparent that the tone was becoming very jokey, and that it was becoming a bit sort of big and brash and generic superhero movie. That is reportedly why she got out of there, because she couldn't let her
make her own movie.
She couldn't let her voice be heard. So she hightailed it out of there, and eventually has sort of been rewarded by coming back and Warner Brothers saying, right, let's have you. So interesting times ahead on that. What have we got coming up this month? We've got Mad Max.
Yep.
We do.
That's getting huge reviews.
I haven't seen anything, very deliberately. I've not seen anything about it, but I really like the original Mad Max films, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah,
I do as well. So that should be cool.
I like the first 2 anyway.
No love for Tina Turner?
No, that's precisely my objection to the third one. No.
Who run Bartertown?
Not Tina Turner.
Oh, okay.
She runs Nutbush City. If you're in a 70s music joke kind of a mood. Either way. I love the concept more than anything else. And obviously without Mad Max, and particularly I'd say without Waterworld, we wouldn't have Fallout. So
true.
Stylistically, it wouldn't be the same at all.
Yep.
So I've got...
And The Postman, I'd wager.
Probably.
Two Costner hits in there. Hit being a generous term.
Incredibly generous term. Yeah.
People forget though that Costner at that time period in the 90s, that is Costner's absolute apex.
I agree with
don't hand wave it. Costner was huge.
Hand waving how huge he was. I'm hand waving how talented you seem to think he is.
I think Costner is particularly talented. I think if you watch something like Dances with Wolves, it blows you away. Yeah. I mean, it's a phenomenal movie, and him in something like Field of Dreams is absolutely magical. Yes, he has had a couple of stinkers. I will hold my hand up and say he has had a couple of stinkers. But I think largely his batting average is quite high. But yeah, I'm still waiting on Waterworld 2, but I'll let that slide.
Sell the moon to be able to afford that after the deficit that the last one had.
Perhaps. I don't think anybody owns the moon at present, so if we get up there quick enough, we'll be able to sell.
We might be able to fund Waterworld too.
We'll plant the PGK flag on it.
Precisely. I feel like it's a wasted opportunity, but maybe I'm being too cynical.
Maybe
we could do more with the moon.
What else is out this summer? I'm trying to think of what's out, like, sort of in the next couple of weeks.
2 months or so.
To be fair, I mean, I think it'll probably be 3-4 weeks before we do another podcast. I'd like to sort of, without it, go to like 5 or 6 weeks, which has been this time, and I apologise for that. I think we could probably, we'll have Mad Max in the bag, and then when is Jurassic Park out? That's June as well. I think that's late June.
June, it must be.
So there's not a bunch.
Well,
you've got then Arkham Knight as well.
Hopefully by that point we'll be hearing a little more rumblings about what may or may not be appearing at E3.
Yeah, we'll be much closer.
Well, no, early June would be...
June
that's C3, isn't it?
I don't remember anymore. I try and keep myself unhyped because I know I won't be able to get the day off.
I think E3 is very early June. No, it's in the middle of June. Sorry, it's June 16th to 18th.
Okay, so we'll probably just miss it then.
So we'll probably just miss it and then report on it in the next one. I thought the Bethesda chat we had earlier, I think, was indicative of how we feel. They better show us some good stuff. Not just Bethesda, but everybody else better show us some good stuff.
Well, especially considering how, as you said, the last couple have been, look at all this great stuff coming out. By the way, there's massive delays.
Yeah. Sorry, sucks to be you.
Yeah. By the way, Nick went in and pre-ordered, like 8 different Xbox One games when he picked up his Xbox One.
6 of which have not come out yet.
Yeah.
It's we're in a weird period, aren't we?
Especially as the Division is still just listed as Q4
Oh,
2015.
Yeah.
they confirmed that, so it's
Well, is it actually confirmed Q4?
January or February
Now,
2016.
I was suspecting it would slip.
No, that financially that is technically
Black
Q4.
okay.
Friday. I know that games usually release on a Tuesday in the States, and now big releases release on Tuesday here, but sometimes on a Friday. I think Call of Duty's coming out on Friday. But they should have released it on Black Friday. That's such a massive, massive opportunity.
No, I agree with you. Oh, San Andreas is that? So I'm looking at the list.
Oh
San
my
Andreas,
God.
that looks so fucking bad. Good.
Yeah.
That looks...
Yeah, that looks like fucking Independence Day, but with zero heart.
Yeah.
And that's okay by me.
Are you telling me? I mean, The Rock is about 8.5 feet tall. He's got to have a heart the size of your head.
Oh, well, yeah, that for sure. All the cardio he does.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
the size of a horse's heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I don't know. It's going to be awful and soulless, and I'm going to love it.
There you go. That's the correct
I know
opinion.
there's positivity
absolute-
behind it every step of the way. Like, that's going to be really bad. It's going to be a great drunk movie.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Cannot wait for San Andreas. Incidentally, I mean, obviously, Independence Day 2 is adding to its cast all the time. Jeff Goldblum confirmed for coming back.
I wasn't seeing it anyway.
Wearing a sign that says, "Fuck you, Ted."
Yeah, I wasn't seeing that already anyway. But,
What if Will Smith signs up for it, though?
Oh, well, then
Will Smith is out of it.
Then I will
He's totally...
triply not see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, no, he's totally out of it. Jurassic Park is June 12th. And then you've got a big...
Jurassic World.
Oh, sorry, Jurassic World. I apologise. And then Inside Out, the new Pixar thing, and Ted 2 are at the end of June.
Okay. So we may have some things to discuss at the June, but probably not in the May podcast.
Yeah, I think... Well, we would have been able to see Mad Max by that point.
Oh, yeah.
That's
like a 1 out of 5.
Yeah, and San Andreas, which is out at the end of May.
Oh, the end of May?
So
okay. I thought I'd slipped further, but...
We'll go have a little look at that. I will have gone and seen Tomorrowland as well, because I'm terrifically excited about that. I particularly enjoy movies about people that get badges that take them to alternate realities.
That's one of the other rolling trailers at work, and when I saw the trailer, whenever I saw it at the cinema, can't remember what I saw it in front of. I really like the look of that. I know it's a kids' film, but it looks really spectacular, in the literal sense.
I said before. It's Disney presents BioShock Infinite.
Yeah, it
It's,
really seems to be.
Yeah,
with George Clooney as Comstock.
Yeah, totally. I like George Clooney.
I like him too.
I like him.
I like Comstock.
Oh, you shouldn't.
Whoa, what?
He's a bad guy. Then again, so is everybody. In the
Sorry,
Russian universe.
I mean Booker.
Yeah, he's great.
Bad Booker.
Again, for a 2-year-old game. I think that looks cool. What are the other trailers that are running at work? Home, which looks like it's going to be very easy, trashy jokes, but might be quite sweet.
In terms of games, though, I mean, coming out, we're in a fallow period.
We've been in a fallow period
as we
for
said
the
last
2
month.
years. There's been nothing.
I think
exciting.
it will hit towards the end of the year. I'm hoping E3 is going to pull a couple out the bag, and then I think it's going to ramp up start of next year.
That bag better have Fallout 4 in it.
If that bag doesn't have Fallout 4 in it, we can burn the bag.
Yeah, swing against a tree.
Yeah.
That's like this, but there's nothing now that I feel like other than the Division. But the Division, it slips to the back of my mind every 2 weeks because, every 6 months because it's
Rainbow Six actually got confirmed for October.
Oh yeah, I saw the newest trailer for that. I'm not hyped for that because I don't get hyped for Rainbow Six games other than Rainbow Six Vegas 2.
Yeah.
So I will enjoy that immensely when it comes out, but I'm not hyped for it at all.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to Black Ops 3. That looks really cool. I'm hearing really interesting, quite different things about that, so that's cool. I mean, Deus Ex, I will play.
Mankind Divided.
Oh, yeah, I'm not hyped for that again, but I will play it absolutely.
That's not this year though, is it?
No,
that's well into next year. I would imagine that'll be September, October next year.
Rise of the Tomb Raider as well. I'm looking forward to.
Oh,
Obviously,
yeah.
that's not going to be soon either. Rise of the Tomb Raider.
But that's Christmas. That's Christmas this
Is
year.
that Christmas?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That's Microsoft's big AAA release. That's why they moved Quantum Break out of that so that it didn't hit it. Because Quantum Break is Q1 2016. I would imagine that'll be their Easter game. That'll be March, April, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I really hope that's good because we've not heard anything out of that in a long time.
No,
I really hope that winds up being good because again, I'm very low on the hype factor for that one, but I was for Alan Wake as well. I was like, well, it looks out. You know, when I first saw the trailer, and then when I played it, I lost my fucking mind. I'm going to try and persuade Tony to get into that, and we'll play that on the PC through the TV because it looks amazing on PC.
Terrific.
So I'm going to try and redo that at some point soon. I still haven't played The Writer, I think it is.
Yes.
The 2 DLCs. I've only played the first one, which wasn't great.
Which is not as good as The Writer, which is very good, and then ties directly into Alan Wake's American Nightmare. And then I saw, did you see that Polygon got their hands on the never-before-seen Alan Wake 2 demo?
Oh, yeah.
That they created in 2010, immediately after Alan Wake 1. Which just I watched it with sort of my mouth open, just
lolling on the floor.
I've not touched it. Obviously, I try not to give them any ad traffic whatsoever. But I've not watched that yet because for one, I think it would be too upsetting.
It is very upsetting because you're watching it and you're like, okay, this is sort of what American Nightmare was going to be, but it also was going to be a lot more. And look, I will go out there and buy 15 copies of Quantum Break so that they get a lot of money and all that. And disclaimer: I will not buy 15 copies.
Make Max Payne 4. Well, I bought 3 copies over time of Alan Wake. So
I bought it twice. Yeah.
I bought it on the PC and I bought twice on the Xbox because I traded it in when I had no money.
Yeah.
No, obviously not that makes that much difference to them, but still, I would love them to make another game, and hopefully they won't make another Max Payne game because Max Payne 3 was terrible.
That's not them. That's Rockstar.
No, I know that's Rockstar, but they might get the rights back or something. But yeah, other than that, there's nothing I'm particularly excited for other than The Division.
Which means that E3 has a big potential to be big surprises.
I'm hoping for surprises. Yeah, absolutely. The best E3s are the ones with complete surprises, surprise sequels.
Left 4 Dead 2. I never forget that. They come out of nowhere.
Lost my mind. Ran and phoned a bunch of people. I was so excited. On the landline. Because that's how long ago that happened. But yeah, no, absolutely. So that's what I'm hoping is for new stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what I want though. Like what sequels I want that I don't really know about. Other than Alan Wake 2.
Do you want Blade Runner 2?
No, still no. An hour later, still no.
Okay.
I'm still alive, don't look at me.
Okay.
Don't even fucking look at me.
Alright, it's 3 no's from us, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
We'll report back next month after having seen an advanced copy of Blade Runner 2 and let you know how it goes. Thanks very much for joining us this month on the PGK Review Podcast as part of the Say What Now family. We will see you in about a month, shorter gap than it was last time. I do apologise for the 6-week wait for a podcast.
Yeah, it's Ted's fault.
It's Ted's fault, and I was too busy building a greenhouse in the garden. That's it for now. It's bye from me.
It's bye from me.
It's bye from those guys.
Thank you very much, and catch you later.